The Z to Z Podcast.
Good morning, good evening, or good day, and welcome to the Z to Z Podcast, the home for Xbox achievement hunters and Gamerscore junkies. I'm your host, Brandon Freeman. Thank you so much for listening. At Z to Z, we love gaming in particular, grabbing achievements and gaining Gamerscore. We do news, reviews, and interviews. If it's about achievements, we'll unlock it. You can find show notes for this show, as well as previous shows, on our website, z2z.com. This is episode 91. You can also contact us with questions and comments on Twitter, at Z2Z, ZEDTOZED, over at our forums, forum.z2z.com, or email us directly, contact@z2z.com. So, September is upon us, school is back in session, and the Z2Z podcast has its normal triumvirate of hosts. We have Proulx with us. How are you doing, Proulx?
Doing fantastic. How are you doing?
Excellent, thank you. And Randy is here. How are you doing, Randy?
I'm okay.
Just okay. Fantastic. Well, we got some news. We got some announcements. We got some things going on. We had a great show tonight. I'm really excited about our listener feedback section here. You guys got real creative this week, so there's some good stuff in there. I'm really looking forward to it. I want to start with one piece of listener feedback. Comes from Fug. What the Fug? He says it's more of a comment, not a question. He says, "We want a live show, damn it!" All right, Fug, we got you back now. Here it is. Next Friday, so the upcoming Friday, that is, September 15th, will be our next live show. So hopefully you listen to this right away, and then on that upcoming Friday, of course, you can follow us all on Twitter, so at Z2Z, ZEDTOZED, like I mentioned in the intro. That's a great place to follow, because we'll tweet when we're doing the show. You can follow me also, Freemhole, at Freemhole, FREAMWHOLE. And then, of course, my Discord channel will be talking about it. It'll be all over the place. So hopefully, if you don't listen to this on time and you're catching this maybe at the end of September, well, then you will see us in the future and follow our social medias and whatnot, so that you know when our live shows are coming up. We're trying to plan them out a little bit better. And trying to make a regular thing about it. I can't promise that we've got all the sexy streams and bells of whistles and all that kind of fun stuff. Well,
we'll get
Proulx
there.
might do a sexy stream, but that's unrelated to all the
There will be a
cool
bear.
stuff that we have.
There will be a bear. So
Is the bear returning?
he may. He was a pretty popular part of the last stream,
That's true.
He may have to make a comeback.
We could get the bear his own camera.
And his own mic. It's true. He is silent most of the time, but who knows? He may have something important to say at some point.
I will note this time, too, the turnout on Twitch was like almost zero, so we're just going to do Mixer this time.
That makes sense.
Which should also mean that we can do it without any delay, because I don't have to go through a double streamer. So
Oh, yeah, now we're talking.
It'll be a little more... We'll be a little more responsive to the comments because we don't have a 20-second delay anymore.
Delightful. And you know what? You should also teach me how to do it myself. So I've already,
Yes.
I've constantly talked about my inability to do basic computer things, this being one of them. So, it'll be wonderful to know how to, it's kind of like, teaching somebody how to wipe their own butt, right? Like, you should know these things. Just at a young age. So now that I'm a young, host of a show, there are some things I should probably just know. But maybe someone needs to show me once or twice. That being said, I don't want to see you wipe your own butt for me. Yeah, just to be totally clear on that one.
I thought you did.
No. Actually, it's funny. So completely unrelated to butt wiping, but my daughter. So I got a fun story here. My daughter came down. I had to lay the kids down tonight, and I was like, I got to get the show up and going. So you got to get in your room. Come on, it's time for bed. And she comes walking down the stairs, and it's way past her bedtime right now. It's like 2 hours past. And they were outside playing hard and, just trying to enjoy the last vestiges of warm weather. Living in Minnesota, it's getting a little brisk.
It's getting a little chilly here, too. I think winter's coming early this year.
Yeah. So we, she comes down and she's like, I can't sleep. I'm like, what's going on? It's time for bed. You're just tired. It's late. I can't stop thinking about my Minecraft world. And I lost my 2 dogs. And they got eaten or killed or something, and I can't find my home. It was destroyed, and I had a chest, and it was full of stuff. I mean, and she is, like, in tears at this point, like, with the tragic loss of her 2 digital pets and whatever home she has fabricated is now gone. And I'm like... Sweetie, there is absolutely nothing I can do right now for that. We need to go back upstairs to bed. So the video games are now poisoning my children's sleep. Thankfully, I don't sleep, so I don't have to worry about these things sneaking into my dreams. So
they just keep you awake instead.
Bingo.
I didn't even know there were dogs in Minecraft now.
Yeah, well, it's the wolves.
And the wolves. Okay, yeah.
Well, you give the wolf a bone,
yep, right.
And he gets a collar, right? So, yeah. So my son has a kennel, and he's got, like, 8 dogs in it. And so my daughter, they play together, and so she had 2 of them and was wandering around, and I'm pretty sure they got exploded by a creeper.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh.
She got a little too close. So they play in creative mode, usually, and what she likes to do, and I don't think she realized, like, in creative mode, it was like on peaceful, but if you spawn an enemy, like on your own, they'll attack. And so she essentially made like this death arena. It was a completely enclosed house where she had her dogs in there, and then she'd spawn a couple of skeletons. And so then the dogs would go after the skeletons, and the skeletons would shoot the dogs with arrows. And then she'd, like, freak out when they start dying and have to run up and, like, kill the skeletons. I'm like, you're a horrible person. Like, you're torturing these animals.
Freem, she just went through a pretty big loss. Maybe you can cut her some slack, okay?
Well, if she wasn't... I mean,
I think this caused the loss. I think that's the point.
Well, do you think that it triggered...
Torture.
Yeah, like, she had her 2 dogs, and now she's like, well, the dogs will get their revenge, and I'll make a death arena where dogs get to fight skeletons for perpetuity, and I don't know. She's... whatever.
It's like the plot of Dead Rising 2.
It actually is. It actually is. Yeah, terror in... What does TIR stand for?
Yeah, terror in reality.
Terror is reality. Yeah, there you go. I don't think the dogs win any money, though. All right, let's move into our wins of the week. Let's start with Proulx. What do you got for me tonight?
As many, any of the listeners that listened to last week know, the McPizza road trip had a bit of a failure, and by a bit, I mean was a bit total catastrophe. And
more than a complete failure, it was a death of a relic of the 90s, and it's a tragedy, and it's terrible.
So that didn't happen, obviously. But the day after, Randy and his wife still came down just because, we have some fun, might as well not make the best of the weekend that we had. That same day, I actually had a couple of friends who had to come down to this area for something or other. And so there was me and my girlfriend, and there was 6 of us, and then plus Proulx was there. So basically, at the end of the night, there were 8 of us.
We had 8 people.
We had 8 people, and we started playing some Jackbox games. And man, oh man, I mean, I
recommended TKO.
Yes, TKO. I think
that was we played that for Review Z, and it was fantastic.
Yes,
it was fantastic with 3 people. So I was super excited to play this with 8 people.
Yeah, and we had so much fun. We played a few games. I really liked the bomb game. We played that earlier on, and we had a little bit.
Bomb game is super fun.
Oh, I didn't get to play.
Yeah, that was a little bit earlier.
I got to watch and help a little bit.
Yeah. But between the bomb game and TKO, man, it is... If you ever have a situation where you get enough people to play these games in person. It is such a blast. You're going to have so much fun. And we were laughing the whole time, and it was just
great. Every single round was fantastic.
It was just so much fun to play that with a group of people. Everybody was just there to have a good time, and you know, that's what we're all here for, right? So I loved it, and it was so much fun, and that was definitely my win of the week.
That's awesome. Hey, before we move on to Randy, we actually had a question from Buffs. There's a great spot for it now. He said, now that McPizza is dead, what obscure food product will Randy pursue now? And do we have any suggestions for him as to things that he needs to go on this epic quest for? So, you know, Proulx, do you have anything, or Randy, has anything filled the void of McPizza? Or is it still too soon for you to really, you know, move on? Are you grieving still?
Yes, there's grieving. The jazz shirt will probably be worn this weekend. But I did wear that in mourning on the Saturday where we were supposed to eat pizza. I would have worn it in celebration if we had gone to make pizza. Fortunately, did not happen. But no, there is another obscure food thing. This is not a 90s thing. This is just something I genuinely want to try.
Okay.
So I think it must have been like the 50s-ish when they were a thing. But I forget the name of them. But the old kind of bananas that taste like the banana candy. Like, they taste like artificial banana flavor.
Oh, I think you mentioned that before.
And so they are almost extinct. There are very few of them left. And like, obviously, like, none in any kind of commercial production, but I would really like to grow some of those bananas so I can eat them. There's also a farm in Hawaii that farms them, and you can buy them from there in Hawaii only. Probably not going to happen. That's a little far and expensive.
That's a bit of a trip, yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit of a trip. If I happen to be there anyway, I would happily stop by. There are similar bananas also grown in Hawaii that will ship, but it's like $50 for like 2 bunches of them.
That's crazy.
It is
mostly because obviously you have to ship them rather quickly, and they're super exotic because like they're not growing them in huge quantities like regular bananas at the store. So
can we apply the endangered species list to food? Like, can these bananas go? I mean, it's a species, right? We should put these bananas on the endangered species. I mean, the eagles are back, so like, let's swap out the eagles with bananas.
The problem is bananas are really weird, because my understanding of how bananas work is there's no genetic diversity. They're all clones. So like, if there's a disease that affects one banana, like one type of banana, it affects all the bananas. So that's what happened, is there was one disease, and since they're all clones, they just all died in that area. And if you grow bananas there again, they're all going to die again, because they're still the same bananas. There just happened to be some that were not in that area that someone found, and then now there's a guy on Amazon that sells them if you want to buy your own and plant them.
It is called the Gros Michel, or the Big Mike banana. Just
so
that's the one.
Are you going to have neighbors like looking at your electric bill and saying, "Man, he must have a growing room in his house. Like, this dude's up in some serious stuff."
Well,
and then the cops are going to come in and be like, "Hey, listen, where's all the weed?" You're like, "Dude, I'm just growing bananas, man. Just growing bananas."
I don't think bananas would fit in my house.
Because it's a tree?
Yeah, I mean, they're kind of a tree. Like, they're weird. They're like a tree-like thing with a big bunch on the top.
I'm pretty sure that counts as a tree. I mean, it's not a vine, and it's not a bush.
I mean, it's like a tree and a vine combined. Like, it's like a freestanding vine thing.
It is produced by large herbaceous flowering plants, so not trees. Bananas are flowering.
Bananas are super weird. Like, when I started looking into these bananas, like,
Where do you find this stuff? How does this come across your
I have no idea.
radar? I am so confused.
Because at some point I heard so this is my
you
line of
love
thought of
banana
how I
Laffy
found
Taffies or something?
So I love
They're so
marshmallow bananas. Super good. Anything artificial banana is awesome. So I was like, I must have looked up, well, why is this, this doesn't taste like bananas. And it's so there used to be bananas that tasted like that. I wonder if you can still get those. And then you start looking, there's a forum for people that grow bananas. There's active. So they talk about all these different
the banana
kinds of
hammock.
bananas.
Yeah, I've been there before.
Is that
I was
actually...
going to say, do they have a clever name? Because that's a good one.
That would be great if it was. So yeah, they talk about all these different kinds of varieties of bananas and where you can grow them and where you can get them and things like that. And so then I sent this guy's somebody found some living plants, took some, grew them, and
Sounds illegal.
They sprout up little clones, and then you can sell them because you want to get rid of them because you don't want a million banana plants.
Right.
So you pull them up and you can send them to people to grow them. And I guess from there I was, and I started okay, well, how hard is it to grow bananas? Where do you grow bananas? How long does it take? Well, it only takes a year. They're just you just grow them for 1 year and then they'll make bananas. And they're pretty low maintenance, but you can't have freezing. So I can't grow bananas in New York, unfortunately.
Yeah, Minnesota will be tough.
But maybe back when I get back to the West Coast, I can grow some bananas.
Can you grow them inside? Can you do hot lamps?
I mean, you could do them in a greenhouse, probably.
Yeah,
it looks pretty big.
it'd
have to be a tall greenhouse.
Yeah,
but
the movement should be called Bananas for Scale, and it would actually have a scale.
That would be funny.
What? I don't get it.
You don't get bananas for scale. You're on the internet all the time.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I see what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah, play on words. You like that?
Since we're on the topic, and this is a topic we only broach occasionally, I have an interesting banana fact. The easiest way to open a standard, whatever type of banana that we normally eat is, most people grab it by the stem and kind of rip it open in a very aggressive and vicious manner, which occasionally results in mushing of the end of the banana or ripping parts of it.
A big waste of the end of the banana.
Exactly. So
because once it's mushy, it's just trash.
You don't open from the stem. You open from the base, and you just pinch that little black part, and it will spread apart super easy. This is how monkeys actually open bananas in the wild, and they are onto something. I'm telling you, try it once, grab the banana by the other end, pinch the end, and peel apart. I'm going to change everybody's life right now if you haven't tried this before. It's amazing.
Yeah, eating bananas backwards. I get it.
I'll admit I have heard that before, but I opt for the savage ripping of the top.
I use a knife and cut.
I
the knife.
I guess. Yeah.
If it's now, see, the thing is too, I like my bananas pretty green.
Yes.
So.
Oh, what are you, a savage?
Nice and firm.
So they're still tough enough that they don't mush.
Yeah,
and they get too yellow. I don't like it. I don't like the texture. I don't like the taste.
That's one of those
I'm with
blackjacks that a cop uses, to whack somebody with.
Not that.
That's
green.
how hard they are. I mean, that's awful.
No, you just want a subtle kind of green on the skin, and then
where it's still it's still firm. It's got it's still firm. It's got a little sweet, but not too much.
Listeners of the podcast, we are still talking about the actual fruit, the banana. So do not, get your head out of the gutter. I know you're there.
No one was going that way except for you, Freem. That's your fault.
I
know our listeners. I could run down a list of at least 6 people on my
No, I know.
that are totally in the gutter right now.
So anyway, to finish off my banana research, my understanding was I learned the bananas are super weird plants. And they don't have seeds or anything. They're just clones. They're all clones, and they just clone themselves. I guess. I don't know. That's my understanding of how bananas work. I could be totally wrong, but that's what it seems to be, and that's why they all die.
I thought there were seeds on the inside.
No, but they're not seeds.
Right on the middle stem.
Yeah,
there.
but they're not seeds. Bananas don't grow from those. You can't plant a banana and have more bananas come up.
What do you plant
tubers.
to make a new banana?
Banana clones. So like there's like the banana plant, and then every year it makes bananas, and then there's a bunch of little clones that sprout up, and they
But
all
if there's
turn
no
into new banana
seeds,
plants.
then it's not a fruit. So what is a banana then?
Maybe it's not a fruit. I mean,
It
maybe
has to be
there's
a fruit.
seeds, but
There's
they don't
seeds,
grow
man.
anything.
There's
It's
totally seeds.
botanically a berry, apparently, but it is a fruit. At least that's what
Wait,
Wikipedia
so
says.
So you're looking at Wikipedia, and it's a berry?
It says an edible fruit, then you get a little dash, and then it says botanically a berry, then another dash. So I don't know what that specifically means here.
So I guess it doesn't. Do berries have seeds? Some berries have seeds.
in the inside. That's the thing. So, like, a berry is a
berry has
soft,
seeds on the
fleshy outside with it's made of fructose, and inside the cells.
So what's a
containing
banana
seeds.
seed?
There's those little black, like you can't. They're so minuscule, like you can't bite
but
them or anything. But
they don't grow anything.
I feel like they have to. Maybe the thing itself. I don't know. I don't know much about banana regrowth. What's the word I'm looking for?
Reproduction.
Cultivation.
Reproduction.
Sure. Hey, Randy, do you have a win of the week that's non-banana related?
Welcome to the Banana Cast.
Red bananas are also very good if you ever have the opportunity to try them.
Did you say red?
Red bananas.
Is that like those like blue tortilla chips? Like, is it just
no,
a
they're
weird?
The skin is red. The skin is red. They have a different texture and they taste a little bit different. But they're often carried at grocery stores. I've seen them all around the country and the continent.
Nope.
Actually,
you are a liar. There's no. I've never seen a red banana.
Bananas
Never seen
are
a
a
red
variety
banana.
of banana with a reddish purple skin. Sorry, Freem,
Yep.
it's on Wikipedia.
Yeah, have you seen one?
They're
Proulx?
actually on.
I have not
banana.
in person seen one.
Yeah.
Have
Oh,
you not
okay.
seen-
So
even my,
let's
like,
just
little
go on the
grocery store
on the
doesn't have
internet and
anything.
just look up random things
up
and
red
say, "Oh, I
banana."
read it on the internet. It must be true."
No, I've eaten red bananas in 3 different places.
Yeah, truck
on the
stops.
continent. No.
Truck stops. Oh man. Okay. I think that's enough banana talk. I think we can.
Yes, I do have a win of the week. It's really tough, and I'm having a really hard time deciding. But I think I'm going to have to go with completing Sports Ball 08 because it was it was an adventure. It's like a whole story, kind of, not really. So I went to the mall when I was in the DMV area, as the locals call it.
Woohoo!
And I was trying to find. I was like, oh, I should have brought Sports Ball 08 so Proulx could help me because he knows how to play sports ball and get all the sports downs. So I go to GameStop, which apparently does not sell games anymore. The store is down to like
they do tchotchkes now.
it's like 2/3 like game peripherals,
paraphernalia,
nerd culture accessories. It's every time I go in that store, I hate it more. It's the worst place. Hate it.
But they can't make money on games anymore. That's why they go with the
Because you people
paraphernalia.
keep buying digital. That's why.
You people.
Poor
What do you mean, you
GameStop.
people?
I mean, people that buy digital games. So they don't have it. Okay, whatever. They had a couple other games I was interested in. I was like, man, their prices are outrageous.
Oh yeah, they're obscene.
On those, they use 360 games. Like, those used to be a good deal. Everything is $20 now. Like, any game that is not worth $20. Like, $20. It's not worth $20. It's like 6 years old and no one cares about it. And it's all beat up and ruined because it's a GameStop. Yeah, not happy with GameStop. So I was like, whatever. Then the next day we were walking through another mall. I was like, hey, I'll check GameStop, see if they have Madden. And they did for $3. So I was like, yeah, $3, sure, I'll just buy it. Whatever. If I can complete it while I'm here, that's worth $3, another copy of Madden. So I go in, they have it, it's got the case and everything. And then the guy is like, oh, I see your membership expired in 2014 recently. Do you want to renew it? I'm like, no, I buy like one game a year at GameStop. No, there's well, we do recommend the scratch warranty. That's $3 on my $3 game. That was a good one.
Yeah, I laughed at that.
The last bit was the best. I'm like, no, I don't want that, obviously. And then he asks me, he's like, see you on the field.
Oh my god, that didn't happen.
It happened. It was hilarious, and I didn't register how hilarious it was until like hours later. But it was so smooth. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know if they're like obligated to say that.
No,
or
there's
if,
no way. But
and
like
the fact that it's Madden 08,
Yeah.
just like you should be questioning why I'm even asking about this game. Period.
agreed. And like,
It's
and
almost 10 years old.
he's got to know, like, there's no. I mean, I assume that's server based, and there's no connectivity to anyone else. Like,
No. Well, I mean, that'll be the next part of the story, but yeah. No, it was hilarious. And so
brilliant.
I was, after I was talking, I saw another one of my friends, and I was telling him about that, and he's like, somebody must have just said that to him once, and he was like, that is the best thing anyone's ever said to me at work. I'm going to say that to every person that buys Madden. Just because it's hilarious. It's just, and it was so
totally
smooth.
brilliant.
So smooth. That was super funny. It made buying the game worth it, even if I didn't complete it. So
the only thing that would have made it better is if you did an open hand pat on the buttocks on your way out.
see you
That
on
would
the
have been
field.
great.
Slap.
So yeah, that was pretty funny. But then, so we sat down and we played Sports Ball 08. I have no idea what I'm doing. Keep in mind, Proulx helped me through the rest of these terrible achievements.
And I have, a decent understanding of football from, just American culture,
living.
I guess. Yeah. But not enough, not enough to know exactly what I should be doing or who I should be using for. So it was kind of a combination of trial and error and the TA guide stuff. But we got it eventually.
And it ended up being super fun because I had no idea what I was doing, and I was like devising weird techniques to like just keep my team from tackling people and things like that. So what would happen is I got really good at switching players really quickly and having them immediately turn 90 degrees and run away from the person with the ball. So they get like super close and then just stop and run away. And it was like every time super intense because you're like, okay, am I going to accidentally get tackled when I don't want to on this? So yeah, with some trial and error and some kind of annoying things and the teams not working, not cooperating with our boosting, we managed to finish that game off finally. And that I will not play another one of those.
How long did it take you?
I would say
less than 2 hours.
I think I estimated it. Well, yeah, to finish it off, it was less than 2 hours. But like, with the time I've put in already, and the time we played that night, I'd say I've probably put 15 to 20 hours into that completion.
Wow.
I think the walkthrough estimated like 5 to 6 or something, which I think is a stretch. 3 to 5 hours on the walkthrough, which. That's a stretch. I mean, it took us 2 to 3 hours just to get like the last 6 achievements. I mean, I guess they were probably the hardest, but I mean, I spent a good chunk of time simming games to get most of the achievements in the game. So I don't know. Maybe I'm just really bad at it, but that's my win of the week because that's one of those games I've been trying to get somebody to help me with that forever. And then
So you had to drive down to Virginia to go do it.
Yeah, and go find a GameStop, but I mean, he saw me on the field.
That's right. That's right.
So
That's brilliant.
I mean, that made it all worth it.
Proulx, I warned you if you read my feed that there will be Destiny talk. This is my win of the week.
No,
Destiny 2.
It's not allowed. We're cutting it off right here.
So
edit it out.
What I'll say is the reason it's my win of the week, and honestly, I haven't even earned any achievements in it yet. It's actually a paltry 13 achievements, which, of course, they'll be long, grindy. You got to do some things to get there. And it's disappointing that it's such a short list. But what was really interesting is when you first boot up the game, and the intro screens that pop up are these, if you think of like old Japanese art where it's like that monochromatic, almost, so you got that black and white kind of brushed paint, calligraphy type style with the occasional splash of color. So they have imagery like that, these kind of still images that go through your progression in the first game. And so, for instance, it'll start off and it'll say, the Black Garden, which is the end of the Destiny campaign in the first game. And then in the lower right corner, it will show you who you completed that with. So it'll have your gamer tag and whomever was in your fire team at the time. And so, like, I saw ZZ Urban Spaceman on there, and then his buddy. So then it moves to the next kind of chronologically, what was the next thing you did? And it was the Vault of Glass, which was the raid in a vanilla Destiny. And then it showed the 6-man raid team. And so it went through all, because I completed both games. It went through each thing, and it would show all of the people that had helped me on my journey through the original game. And I thought that was a super interesting, a unique way to kind of relive your past experiences. It got a little heavy-handed when then at the very end it was like, those are the results of your adventures, and now it is time for a new adventure, or let's start a new adventure, or something along those lines. And I was just like, ugh, gag me. But like leading up to, so that was a really cool touch. I liked that a lot. So that's going to be my win of the week. I'm going to use this now as an opportunity to talk about Destiny 2, because I haven't played it significantly. I've done four missions and a handful of Crucible fights. So I'm still very early into the game, but I want to give my first impressions on it. And so I've mentioned this in regards to the beta, and it is just gorgeous. I am shocked that I'm playing it on the same system I played the original Destiny on, because the particle effects, the graphics, all of the textures are amazing. And it's like, I think back on the original game, and I'm like, that's dog crap compared to what I'm playing right now. And as far as visuals go, it is. I don't know where like these assets come from, or how, because it must have was built for the 360, that it was just so compressed and they had nothing going for them, that now that they can just build this, the cinematics have such amazing polish on it, but even just the general gameplay, everything's so sharp. The colors are so vibrant and the unique lighting, and it is beautiful. As far as the actual gameplay goes, so you literally start off in the beta. It's the same exact 2 missions back to back that lead to the end of the, I guess you call it the prelude, which we'll talk about later, to the story, kind of setting up who the bad guy is. But then you go into the kind of the next thing, and this was probably the least favorite part of mine, is that initial, after the that introduction, when you are stripped of all your powers and you have to play a mission essentially naked, right? You have nothing, no double jump, really no gun, nothing like that. That was a painful, small section of the game. I get it. It was creating an atmosphere. It was, putting the weight of the events that had happened on your shoulders and creating this sense of tension. I get it. It took too long. The walking around really slowly, not very fun. But the game immediately picks up after that and becomes remarkably engaging. Everything they've done in terms of the snappiness of the menus, the loading times are nearly non-existent unless you're matchmaking. That can take a little bit of time. Just all around in general, everything is quick, fast, snappy, easy to navigate, easy to get to. So I'm really happy with those improvements. The movement and character feel, the game feel, they purposely made it slower. They wanted the times it kills to be longer. They wanted the engagements to last a little more, akin to like what Halo is. Having the overshields and things like that. It just take a little longer to grind down, which is great for a gamer like myself who is typically too tired to react in a Twitch-based manner, like in Call of Duty. But it was a dramatic change from what I was used to, and so there's a little bit of a learning curve there. But overall, I think I'm going to enjoy it in the long run. And as it stands right now, in the first 4 missions I've played, the story elements are very, very good. It is engaging. It is a tight narrative so far. Now, by all means, it could completely go off the rails. I was told that it's going to be like a 20-hour campaign, and so I'm like 2-3 hours in. So that's not far, and so this, yes, it could dramatically go off the rails and completely get insane. But I'm I like where it's going. I like how, I think the focus narrative of having a big bad it just works for this game. My final gripe, and the one thing that just, it for some reason just really chaps my hide, is so you get to see, so the main bad guy is a Cabal leader. Okay, the Cabal are these giant, Space Marine type dudes. They're aliens. And they, the main guy actually looks and sounds like Bane from Batman. And so I was like, oh, he's probably got that respirator on so he can breathe in our atmosphere or whatever, and that's just his thing. It's not. It's like a voice modulator that he wears, because in one of the cutscenes, a lieutenant of his comes out, which I'm led to believe is his dad or something. Anyway, he comes out with no mask on, no helmet, no mask. And so you see what this character looks like just in his armor, but he's got no sleeves on his armor, so you can see his skin and his head. And the only thing that I can think of is, if you guys are familiar with the Super Mario Brothers movie, in that game, I believe they were called the Goombas, the little small heads with the razor sharp teeth.
Weren't they Koopas? I believe in the movie they were Koopas, but
whatever one they were, I thought they got it wrong and they called them Goombas. But suffice it to say, that's what this dude reminds me of, is like tiny head shaped almost like a pencil eraser with sharp, jagged teeth in it and kind of a dopey looking face. Now this guy, this particular one, also appeared to have a cleft lip. Just the way that his teeth move up. So he's got a very pronounced upper jawline with these razor teeth, and the lips go all the way up to his nose and splits like almost like jowls down the side there. It looks really cool, kind of. Like, I can see, it's alien, that looks neat or whatever. He kind of just looks like a flesh sack. Like, he's just a misshapen blob of a creature. And so, maybe that's I don't know much about the Cabal lore, so maybe that's part of the thing why they wear this armor, because they're just these big, puffy, juice bags. But here's the biggest gripe I have. So there's a long conversation here as between the bad guy Ghoul and this character, and he's speaking in English, which is fine, right? I don't have a problem with that. But what I do have a problem with is the shape of his lip should prevent him from making P's or M's or anything that involves using your upper lip to make those sounds. So I don't know if he's got a secondary set of a mouth inside of this jaw of his, but there should be no way he can effectively make those sounds with lips like he has. For some reason, that just sets me off. I don't know. I'm just watching his lips, and he's like saying something with a P, but he's not puckering, because you have to, of course, glad I got my pop filter here, but I'm still going to pop into the mic. Those P sounds with no upper lip. Like, I can just try it like this, and if I just pinch my upper lip, this is what it should sound like. I should sound like Dopey the dog, instead of actually being able to enunciate.
Freem.
It's very small, very stupid, but it just, if you watch it, it really bothers me.
Freem, this is nothing new from Bungie. If you've ever seen the elites in Halo try to speak English, it's the same exact situation where they have four lips, and they should also not be able to do this sort of thing. By the way, you were right. I looked it up in the movie. They're called Goombas. Koopa is Dennis Hopper, of course.
Right.
Also, the one thing that you were just having that whole conversation, I remembered this, and it always stuck out to me, that in Destiny, the Cabal looked like somebody stuck space armor on the Vogons from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy to me. These really slow lumbering people. So just to give some other people an idea.
Yeah. And so I know, Proulx, you just vehemently against the game, and that's fine. You got burned in the first one. Totally get it. For anybody listening out there who, was on the fence about the first one, I recommend giving it a shot. The improvements on this game so far, the accessibility so far has been very good. They do so. The premise of the game is that these people come to attack and pretty much wipe out humanity, and so you need to rebuild it. But oh man, thank God that the Eververse microtransaction store survived. I'm just so happy that she made it out with her wares. That, what would we do without the microtransaction model? That also
people are the
strikes
ones
me
that
as
survive.
Yeah,
So she's got $10 trillion from microtransactions. She's gonna make it.
Freem, you're in at the ground floor. So have you yet to discover the loot cave, or has that already been closed off like it was in Destiny?
Haven't seen a loot cave yet. I did get my first exotic like in my second Crucible match, which was nice. That was a fun surprise, and it was one of my favorite ones that gives me my radar at all times. So I love that. I'm just scratching the surface of this game. What I've been doing, well, this is a great opportunity for me to go into what I've been playing. Because what I've been spending most of my time with is for the random to-do list was The Walking Dead Season 2. So I would sit down and play an episode. So I played 2 episodes one night, and that got me to bed at like 1:30 at night. That's too late. That's not good. That got me less than 4 hours of sleep that night. So I said, okay, no, I can't do that. 1 episode a night, and then after that episode, I'll play a little bit of Destiny. Little bit of Destiny turned into going to bed at 1:30 at night. So again, didn't achieve the thing. But so I'm 4 episodes into The Walking Dead Season 2. I'm gonna finish that next episode. Maybe after no, it won't be after we record tonight. It'll be too late. But this weekend I'll finish that up. I won't mention any spoiler things here, but I do have again another gripe fest here. But it's funny that it was addressed at least at one point. So, and Proulx, you're a fan of, you finished this. Randy, did you do Walking Dead Season 2?
I haven't played any of them.
Okay. So, Proulx, you can either commiserate with me or tell me I'm crazy, but I had very strong feelings about the first season and loved it. I thought it was amazing. Really engaged with the characters, or at least Lee and Clementine specifically. I'm trying to think of other characters, because what's driving me nuts about this season is that almost all of the characters are completely unlikable. I have yet to really connect with anyone apart from Clementine. I have, I do kind of like Luke.
Yeah,
I kind of like Jane.
Jane, yeah.
And like, but that's like been it. So like.
Well,
I won't mention the other character who like you're supposed to really care about. There's a few that they're like pushing you to care about, and there's like a scene with another little girl. You know who I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't care less about her. I was like, yep. Hey, sorry. Yeah, you're not doing great. I'm out of here. Like my Clementine turned into kind of a B word. Like she. Just in her interactions with people, it's like I'm all about me now. This is my story. I'm gonna survive. You guys are all holding me back. And like it's all these thread lines. It's like I just kind of they're good. They're interesting. I think they're almost too short. So you play through a thread line and you're like, oh, I like where this is developing, and then boom, it's like resolved right away. It's like, well. Play that out a little bit. Like, you have a lot of material here about where you can go with this story and what you can do with it. And you just cut it so short just to pack all this stuff in here. It's like, oh, okay, I don't really care for that. They've done some interesting things with locale. They've done some, again, I don't replay this. So like, this is my story going through. I'll probably come back at some point and finish the 360 version, but like, this is my version of the story. And so I'm enjoying the journey thus far, but it also brings to fact the one thing that just drives me nuts is that, so Clementine is an 11-year-old girl. And so one of the constant things that is thrown in her face is, you're an 11-year-old girl. Why should we listen to you? And do what you think we need to do. Yet, just as quickly as they say that and dismiss her because she's 11, they will immediately have her do everything. Like, hey, could you go? Rebecca's really hungry. You mind going into that abandoned house and finding some food? Like, get off your tush and get in there and find it. Like, why are you sending this 11-year-old girl into the house? Like, by herself, with no weapons.
Hey, Kenny's
like,
really sad. Maybe you should go talk to him.
You have to be kidding me. Like, at least in some of those, it's like, okay, those I get.
No,
it's
I
the
get
one
it.
where Alvin said, hey, Rebecca's hungry. Go into that abandoned house and see if you can find some food. Like, what are you going to do? You're going to sit on the bench next to her? Get off your ass and go find it. Like, that just drives me nuts. Like, a lot of these things I offer to do, right, where it's like, look, even if I say I don't want to go, like, I'm going to end up going anyway. So it's like, oh, who's going on the roof? Well, we need someone little. All the eyes turn to her. Okay, yep, I'm going. But, like, I just got fed up with it once. And then in episode 4, where they're like, you fight behind a little retractable window. They're like, boy, if someone was real small, they could fit in through here. Yep. And I'm like, you know what? I'm done with this. Screw that. I'm not going through there. Someone else. We need to come up with a different way. And so Bonnie's like, oh, okay, maybe I can just reach in and get the doorknob. And I was like, and the way that played out, I was like, that was awesome. Like, finally when I, stick up for myself, so, it actually makes sense. What my actions paid off. And I was like, this is great. Like, you see what happens? You make me do everything as an 11-year-old girl, and finally now when I'm like, I'm just sick of getting pushed around, it works in my favor.
I don't know, we could maybe do a spoiler cast about it or not, but it'll be really interesting for you to come back and listen to what you're talking about right now once you finish episode 2. And I'm not going to tell you when,
like,
but
all of it, like the fifth thing.
Yes, because
episode.
you kind of brought an element into where the whole episode or the whole season comes to a head. And
I think I know where it's going.
You may be able to see it coming, but it's much, in Telltale fashion, it's super dramatic, and it'll be really interesting to hear what you think of the ending of that game.
If it's going where I think it's going, Clementine will be walking off into the sunset by herself.
Okay. I'm not going to confirm. You have a choice at the end, and
I'm pretty sure I know what the choice is going to be, and I've already made it.
It is. Yeah, it'll be great to hear next week, maybe, hopefully, and we can talk about it because it's. I just replayed it for the first time since I played it originally, and made all the different choices that I could, and I definitely understand your frustrations, and I don't disagree with what you're saying, but it will be really interesting to hear how you think it's resolved.
And I might change my mind if the events of the 5th episode, paint the picture a little differently. I mean, there were things that I saw coming, and they were uniquely presented, and I ended up making a decision that I wasn't necessarily expecting. And the cliffhanger on the end of 4, like, knowing that the decisions ultimately still are going to create the event that happened at the end of 4, I still look back at my decision. I'm like, well, that was dumb. Why did I do that? Like, I should have done this instead, even though I know they would have spun it and the same event would have happened. It was like, that's pretty atypical for the way I'm playing this character. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. I'm enjoying it. It's good. I like it. I can see that after the 3rd episode here that I'll be happy when Clementine's arc is done. Like, I really like her as a character. I've enjoyed the experiences I had with her, but once you establish the type of character you want to play with her, that you ultimately limit your options in future games, because you're like, well, no, this is the type of character I'm playing with, and so then you kind of, they just run out of things to do. So it'll be cool to do another Walking Dead with a different protagonist. I assume they will. I haven't heard anything, but anyway. Just last couple things that I played this week, because that took up most of my time. That's 8 to 10 hours right there, 4 nights a week. Again, Zombie Army Trilogy, Diablo 3. I'm 60% of my way through my gold. I've got 2 million gold left. The final thing, and this also spent a decent amount of time, Never Alone. The Inuit folklore game 2D platformer. This is an old game. Most people got this because this was always on the lists of easiest gamer score you can get, when the Xbox One first came out. And it holds true. I mean, it takes 3 to 5 hours to do the whole thing, including DLC. And yes, technically you can miss some of the achievements because they're quote unquote collectibles, but really, like, almost every owl that is a cultural insight is so close to the path that you really aren't going to miss it. I missed one, and they have a nice checkpoint system that you can go back and find them. I only missed one, and it was easy to go back to. But I really like this game a ton. I thought it was beautifully presented. It was a cool story. Again, from a folklore perspective, thinking of how ancient this culture is, and when they were trying to explain phenomenon that they encountered in the harsh Arctic air or the tundra that they live in, it was interesting how they came up with these stories. And there were some creepy elements to the story, but having a scientific basis for it, you understand that it's a folklore tale. But like the undertones of all their stories they're semi-dark, even though they're like, oh no, they're mischievous spirits. But if they catch you, they're gonna play football with your head and throw it around in space. And it's like, whoa, that got really serious. It was always, and I kind of rushed through it per se. It was always so sad. Like, anytime, it's the little girl and the fox. And when one of the two died, and just the harrowing cry of the surviving member was so sad. Like, when the fox would do its, puppy dog cry, or the little girl would be like, no! I was like, oh my God, you guys are killing me here. Like that's so sad. But I told my son about it, and he really liked the game as well. I didn't play it co-op though. I finished it in one sitting, really. So I didn't have an opportunity to. But learning about the Inuit culture through those documentary videos,
super cool, so
awesome. Yeah. Like, I loved that, and I knew I had to watch them for the achievement, but like I had no interest in skipping through them. I found it so interesting in their storytelling and the way they were presented, and I found them as a culture so fascinating. Like, I live in Minnesota, and it's cold. It gets cold. They live so far north, and to think like, oh yeah, we just put on a bunch of caribou skin, and man, you could stand out in 50 below and you'd be set. I'm like, how is that even possible? Like, I don't get it. Like, and you just the stories about him in the canoe and hunting, and just the conditions that you have to survive up there. Unbelievable what they do to survive. It's so interesting. I really, really enjoyed those documentary pieces. And so, all in all, super easy game, easy gamer score, 3 to 5 hours at most. And it's just a really cool adventure, and you learn something. So that's what I did this week. Actually, I put up some decent gamer score this week. I'm going to end up with like 2,500 points or so.
Ooh, wow,
that's not normal for me. I'm much lower. We'll talk about that later. But that was my activity for the week. Let's go to Proulx and see what else you've been up to this week.
Yeah, so I also have an interesting story about The Walking Dead. I've been making my way. I've been kind of on a Telltale binge, and I've been making my way through my first playthrough of The Walking Dead Season 3, though it's not called Season 3, it's called The New Frontier, for the first time, and I picked it up on Windows 10. So I'm playing through the game like normal and enjoying the story. Hey, look, there's Clementine and all these new characters, and this is interesting because I don't know what's going to happen. And I get through the first 3 episodes, and I'm okay, I'm ready for the next one. So I start to load up Season 4, and it just hangs there on the loading screen and hangs and hangs and hangs. Now, I work in IT, so I kind of know what I'm doing around computers, so I do a whole bunch of stuff. It's like, what's going on here? What's the problem? What's the issue here? Why is this not loading? So eventually I get to the point where I'm like, I have no idea. I don't know what else I could do at this point. What's going on? So I have to submit a ticket with Telltale Games. And I say, hey, look, everything else loaded up fine. I've done all the typical stuff. I've deleted it, reinstalled it, cleared the cache, all this kind of stuff. And I get an interesting email back where they say that Season 4 has more technical requirements than Seasons 1 through 3 do. And that's crazy to me. I don't know why that's the... I mean, I obviously haven't got to play it. So it won't run on my system, on my Windows 10 machine.
That's weird.
Wait, do you mean season or
I'm
episode?
sorry, excuse me, episode. So, yes, excuse me, episode.
Why would they do that?
I don't know. And it was the weirdest thing to me. Because, like I said, no issues with episodes 1 through 3. And episode 4, they're like, nope, sorry. And has a high requirement, so you just can't run it on your machine.
So what we do is we just let you play episodes 1 through 3, and then when episode 4 rolls around, we'll let you install it.
Yep.
But we won't, up the requirements for the game so it doesn't work. Yep. So it doesn't just not let you play. Well, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, it was very strange. I've never experienced anything like this before.
Now that you mention it, in my playthrough, we always talk about the Telltale jank. That didn't happen for me until end of episode 3 and episode 4, and it got real, like, the transitions between scenes, like, really took you out of the moment, because it'd be like, hey, zombies coming up the stairs, and then it like, pause, and you're like, I know there's a QuickTime event coming, but, like, it's stuck. So, hopefully I have time to react once this thing, kicks the cobwebs off and we get to move again. But I didn't see any of, like, the real crazy, like, hands going through faces and, weird, crazy stuff like that. It's just the load times between transitions were terrible.
Yeah. Speaking of that, and speaking of the fact, like I just mentioned, that I'm kind of on a Telltale kick now, I played the Game of Thrones Telltale game on Xbox One and didn't really experience any of that Telltale kind of shoddiness that people talk about a lot.
I thought that was pretty smooth too, if I recall.
It was. I'm now playing it through on 360, and it is awful. I mean, awful, awful. We're talking initial boot up is probably almost certainly over a minute, probably close to a minute 30. That's just for the menu. That's not the load up of the game. That's just you get into the menu, then you have to go through a few screens to start loading the game. That's probably another 45 seconds. Between conversation pieces, there's these weird freezing loadings. There's been a bunch of times where I've loaded into a scene and certain audio tracks won't be there. So either I'll be able to hear all of the awesome background sound effects and no dialogue, or just dialogue with people slashing swords against each other with no noise happening. It is ugly and it is terrible. I won't say I liked, but the experience was fine on the Xbox One. It is awful.
Borderline unplayable.
Borderline unplayable on the 360. So, I've been playing that as well. And then finally, the last Telltale game I've been playing is Wolf Among Us on Windows 10, and that's been going pretty smoothly. I haven't played that game since I initially played it, and it's a really interesting game. I really like The Wolf Among Us, and it's one that kind of I forget about, I think, from time to time. But it's got a lot of interesting lore, and the story choices are really interesting. So I just started that. So other than that, I mentioned that we played Jackbox Party Pack. We played both Jackbox Party Pack 2 and 3. Lots of fun there. I already mentioned that. Halo Reach regular boosting session. Randy and I played some Halo, Spartan Assault. We started... Well, he's been trudging through all the different versions. We started doing the co-op stuff for the 360 version, which, just so everybody's...
We had some issues with that.
Well, you had some issues. It worked just fine for me.
I did. You didn't.
Yeah. The syncing between versions worked just fine for me, and we had to kind of, reboot it up into different versions to get it to pop for him, but...
that is abnormal, though. Most people don't have any issues. And up to that point, the syncing was flawless for me as well.
Yeah, so
that was just a weird one-off thing, I think.
And then the final game has kind of mostly not been me, but kind of been me as well. Like my girlfriend and I started playing Stardew Valley together. And what a really awesome game. It's much more Minecraft than I was expecting. I was thinking it was Harvest Moon, but it's kind of a mashup of Harvest Moon, Minecraft, and Animal Crossing. And
I've heard that.
Really cool. Yeah, like there's a lot of mining on. I thought it was just farming, but there's a lot more like go into the mines and kill these like I'm pretty sure that when you cut down a tree and pick up the wood, it's the exact same kind of weird popping noises that happen in Minecraft. I don't know how they got away with that, but it seems to be the exact same sound effect. But yeah, we've been playing that quite a bit, and that's a really cool game. It's a really
when you're playing that, do you play in that co-op then?
No. Mostly,
okay.
Mostly, yeah. She likes to walk around and slash at the things and plant the corn and stuff, and I'm just kind of there with her, and we're just kind of talking about what do we want to do next, where we're going to plant this and where we want to do that. So
you can do co-op now, right?
I don't know if that's the case. I definitely would.
Yeah, I think they're called farm hands. And so, like, your co-op buddy gets a guest house on your land, and they can walk around and be a farmhand. They can't progress the story. They can't, and this might be on Steam. It might not be on the Xbox just yet. But like, this is definitely a thing. And you can. So you can help crops. I think what you can't do is get into like any of the romances.
No, sure, right.
You can't progress the story. And I'm not sure if you can spend money or not. I think you can. That I don't know. But yeah, other than that, so I'd be curious. That the reason I ask is like, how would you play together? Like, would you kind of both do your own thing and be like, I'm going to go tend to the fields. Can you go to the mines? Or like, would you be like, hey, sweetie, you want to adventure with me? Should we go in the mine together? Like, what do you think?
Well, that's actually really interesting. I'll definitely check on that tomorrow. But I think
you can have up to like 3 farmhands. Like, you can have 3 houses plus your own.
That's very interesting. Yeah, I'm definitely going to check this out. I think that what we would do would definitely be mining together mostly, and I guess the farming too, because it's
just to get your stuff, just get it done.
Yes,
faster,
exactly. The day-night cycle. Every day you have to water stuff or harvest stuff or plant stuff or get the eggs from the chickens and all of this stuff. So it would actually be very super efficient to do it. With the more people, the better, obviously. And then, of course, once you get into the mines, I would imagine that would also double your inventory slots, which would be super useful.
Well, I suppose. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. So we'll definitely check on this tomorrow. I'm very curious if it's on the Xbox One version or not, because that would be a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's
anything else?
No, that is pretty much it. Oh, I got one achievement for random to-do list. I am slacking. My list is so unmotivating this month, unfortunately, and I'm like really trying to force myself to do it, but I don't know. We'll see. I got yeah, it is. I don't know what it is. You ever get those achievements where you're just like, yeah, I guess I could get that in like an hour or two, but I just don't want to play that stupid game. Like, I just don't want to.
Oh, absolutely.
That's like
That's why I curated my list.
Yeah, well,
that was like my list from like September to February last session. I was like, this is stupid. Like, yes, I could totally start up this random dumb game, but then I'll have this open game. Like, I'm just going to keep adding titles to my card I don't want to do. Like, I got to clean some of this crap up. I'm putting specific things on there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I get that.
And that's it.
Cool. How many? What's your random to-do list look like right now? I got 6.
Oh, I have 1. I literally have 1. That's what I got. I
one.
played Metro 2033, and I'll probably... man. It is by far my worst list. The list that I've liked. I think I liked the Destiny list better than this list, honestly. I just... It's so... I don't know what it is. It's not even anything one specific game or anything. It's just like there's just random achieve, which I guess that's the whole point. Haha, random achievements. But it's just like...
That's not the point.
It's just such a perfect list of things I don't really care to do. I don't know. I'll probably get some motivation. At least get a couple, a handful, but we'll see.
Sure. Randy, have you even looked at your list?
I have. I'm planning some stuff. I think I'm gonna try and get like two or three this month, maybe.
Dude, you've got like 4 orange boxes on your list.
I know, but the orange box is like 3 games though.
That's
like
true.
One of those is
fine.
for like
Then
beating Half-Life 2.
You've got 3 from The Darkness, which The Darkness is like an 8-hour completion.
The Darkness is actually the one that I'm going to work on this month mostly. I think because it's been staring me in the face for like 2 years. Like I completed the multiplayer for that game in 2012.
Yeah.
Like it's easy. I just don't like it. I played it shortly after it came out, and I did not like the game, and I've never wanted to go back to it. But yeah, like you said, it's super quick, and it'll be a completion. It'll be an old game off my tag. It's 3 random to-do list achievements. I think everything's kind of lining up for the Darkness this month. So my plan is I want to complete the Darkness this month. Maybe make some progress on Sonic 06. And I also, after I complete the Darkness, I want to play a new game that's I just want to play it. I want to play a good game. Just don't worry about cleanup. I gotta play something good. And I think I'm going to play LA Noire this, I don't know if you guys heard that it's getting remastered.
Wait, what game is this?
There's some news.
Yeah, LA Noire is getting remastered. I don't know if you guys heard.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Actually, I have some things to talk about with that, but I'll let you finish what you've been gaming, and then we'll move into that.
But anyway, that announcement kind of made me remember that I've had that game sitting on my shelf for a few years, and it's probably really awesome. And it's kind of like the kind of game I was craving to play, like something with like a good story that has some depth but isn't like super intimidating like a GTA. It's not like a 50-60 hour game. It's like a 20-25 hour game, and you know it'll pull you in. You get some good games to play for a little bit and then back to clean up. So yeah, what I've been playing, I've had a super productive week this week. Of course, as Proulx mentioned, we played some Jackpack, which I did not play on my tag, but we had a blast playing. It was very fun. Then I played NBA 2K6, which was a whopping 45-minute completion. I borrowed that one at Proulx's house, which was super, super easy. This was the other contender for win of the week, was Killer Instinct. So, I've been saying the last few weeks that I think the Fractured Ward was pulled from the game.
Yes.
Well, Redemption mentioned in our Discord chat that
he showed us.
He got one. And what happened the next day? So did I.
Randy got one.
I got one out of a common pack, which, I must have bought 75 packs to get one Fractured Ward. Like, just ridiculous.
Killer Transactions strikes again.
Yeah. I didn't spend any real money on those packs, but, I played every day for like 3 weeks to get the currency to get them all. So, you got my Fractured Ward, got my last Shadow Lords achievement, and that is all done, which I'm very happy about. And that means I can complete Killer Instinct. So that's going to be happening soon. I think I'm going to buy a Titan this week to start going on those 200 matches with every character, because that's going to take some time.
Sure.
And I made some serious progress in Halo Spartan Assault. I completed the Windows Phone, Windows 8, and Xbox One version, and I'm done everything on the 360 version except I have to play one more co-op match, and then I will be done all 4 of the completable versions of Halo Spartan Assault. So that I've been working on that one for a while. It is much longer than I thought it was. Those challenges are stupid. They're not hard. They just take forever.
That's too bad.
So those are not fun. And then I completed the Onslaught DLC in Battlefield Bad Company 2, which is a pain, but it's much easier with a dummy account that you can leave at a base where it is not attacked, and you can just keep spawning on it every time you die. So I've been doing that with myself and one other person along with one of my dummies. So it's been tough, but we're getting through it. I had already completed the last level, but I've got to run through it again with my friend. And then we'll be done with that. On to this just grinding out kills, get that game done. And I think that's all I played this week. It's been a pretty good week for gaming this week.
Nice. That's awesome. Well, thanks, Randy, for giving me a setup, because you had mentioned L.A. Noire. I don't know if you guys have heard. It's coming out. It's coming back. Remaster. Oh, man. Okay, so let's... there's 4 versions coming out, and I can just think of how amazing all 4 of these versions are going to be, but I want to touch on just the game in and of itself. You guys have you guys both played L.A. Noire?
Yep.
No.
You have not. Okay, Randy. Proulx, completion?
I completed the story. I probably only have half the achievements or so, I imagine.
Okay. So I got 100% completion on it, everything. And so I liked it. I thought the game was great. It was really interesting. The end of the game, the end of the story, I didn't care for. I thought it was the way that it ended was dumb. Still to this day get tears in my eyes when I watch Cole Phelps memes of him, just falling downstairs and just, all of the glitches in the game. Like, they are brilliant. So I hope some of that carries into these new versions, but all right. So here's the 4 versions, and you got your PlayStation 4, Xbox One. All right, really, they're just going to give you the graphics. Things are going to look a lot better. The lighting, the texture, things like that. Great, right? That'll be fun. Maybe they'll polish out any of the bugs and things that are in there. That's not really what I'm most excited for. What I'm most excited for is the Switch and the HTC Vive versions of this game. Because in my head, I'm thinking with the Switch that you've got these Joy-Cons, and they actually mentioned it here in the little feature thing. It says it's the complete original game with all the downloadable content with specific enhancements, including the Joy-Con mode with gyroscopic gesture-based controls, HD rumble, and new wide and over-the-shoulder camera angles, plus contextual touchscreen controls for portable detective work. Okay, I'm thinking Joy-Con with the gyroscope, HD rumble, like... Are you going to throw punches like in ARMS? Like, do you actually get to do the fighting? Do you get to, when you're using these with the rumble mode? Like, that's going to be exciting. And then with the HTC Vive version, okay, I'm imagining you in the interrogation room. They're going to take 7 of the cases and rebuild them for virtual reality. Okay? And so then I'm thinking... You could, you're already, when you pick, innocuous dialogue options, Cole Phelps flips out and just starts yelling at the guy, even though, your comment was like,
yeah.
Hey, what were you doing? And instead he's like, what were you doing? Are you kidding me? And he just starts flipping out. Now, in VR, you'll be able to, get real up into that dude's face when you're doing all the yelling, right? Like, is it first-person mode? I hope it's first-person mode.
I mean, I guess that's the only thing that makes sense, right? I mean, even though when you were interrogating people in that game, it wasn't technically a first-person mode, but it would zoom in real close on their face, and that's kind of the only thing that you would look at for a while. Yeah. So I don't see this version as being significantly better. For that reason, because that was such a part of that game was that you needed to be up close to these people. I mean, I guess I could see why I would enhance it a little bit, but I don't know. To me, it's not like that big of a deal. Yeah,
because you can freak out on people immediately in their face. How much fun is that going to be?
I think of it like the Wii, as it was kind of like you have something like that where you think it's really intense or is really going to enhance the game, but just ends up being kind of gimmicky and annoying. So, I mean, if it's there as an option, sure. But I don't think it's going to be like a huge selling point. VR, maybe. Because VR is kind of, I don't know, for a game with a really detailed environment, that could add a lot to it. But
I think the VR could be pretty cool. Jokes aside. Anyway, we don't need to dwell on that. Just it's coming out soon, November 17th. I think.
Yeah,
Is that
that's
the date?
crazy. It's a quick turnaround.
That is crazy, real soon. Now that we had another. Oh my God, guys. Okay, another announcement. This was thanks courtesy of Tarragon, who found this. Okay, brace yourselves, friends. This is an older game. This originally came out on Steam back in March of 2014, so it's been ruminating for a while, but Tarragon assures me that an Xbox One release is pending. The game is called My Riding Stables, Life with Horses. Let me just give you the back of the box about this game here from their Steam page. The riding stables at Mill Creek are mere ruins, but you're about to change that. Stables, riding hall, and guest house are being renovated, and guests are happily pay for their stay. Your earnings will help you build a new breeding stable, and soon cute little foals frolic on the pasture with their moms. Later, you will train them and sell them to trustworthy customers. Other horse owners bring their horses to be massaged by your knowing hands. You also have your own horse, of course, which the two of you trained enough. You can go take on various cross-country races. Let's win the cup and make your dream come true. Some features include 9 challenging cross-country racetracks, breeding of more than 100 possible combinations, foal training and horse massage, and of course, detailed graphics on horses, objects, landscapes, and movements. I watched a video of this. It's like The Sims and My Horse and Me Too. And I'm watching horse massage here. It's actually as erotic as it sounds. It seems not okay. Yes. So fear not, friends. My Riding Stables, Life with Horses, the effective spiritual successor to My Horse and Me, is slated to come out March 20th, 2018. With being that late, can we hope for 4K enhancements on the Xbox One X? Huh?
That's a lot to hope for. That's a lot to hope for.
Come on now. Complete departure from that story. This both hilarious and so innovative. The South Park, the Fractured But Whole, has some unique. This came to light via Engadget. It has some interesting ways to address any sort of differences that your character has in relation to the first game, The Stick of Truth. So let's start with difficulty. The way that the game handles difficulty in this one is if you can change, the look of your kid, the character, and if you choose darker skin colors, it makes the game harder. The difficulty ramps up. Eric Cartman says in a voiceover, "Hey, don't worry, this doesn't affect combat, just every other aspect of your life if you make a black-skinned child."
Oh, man.
Which
brilliant.
is amazing. Hilarious.
Like, South Park
leave it to South Park to do that.
Yeah.
I hope there's an achievement related to it.
Oh, I hope so.
I
sure
bet you there
will be.
probably is based on the Stick of Truth's achievement list. I can almost guarantee it. So,
yeah,
because there was a Jew class achievement in the first game, so I think that's probably going to be one for this as well.
Yep. It's remarkable. I mean, and very creative, very funny. And it's obviously done in jest. Matt and Trey are definitely not racists. It's just they do social commentary. That's what they do, and it's a very, very smart way to do it. The other thing they've done is, so in this game, so if you remember the Stick of Truth, you are only allowed to play as a male character. You are a boy in South Park, and in the Fractured But Whole, you're allowed to be a female character. But wait a minute. This is the same kid who was playing with them the other day, and now it's going to be a girl? Well, how's that going to work? So this is how they do it. They actually, when you pick your gender, the you are talking to Mr. Mackey, the school counselor, and he makes a phone call to your to your character's parents, and he essentially says, so the whole King and Stick of Truth thing, she was actually a girl the entire time? And then, like, the parents, are like, yes, no, that's what happened. It was, and then, so then after that, they actually ask you, are you cisgender or transgender? And then once you answer that, they have to call your parents again and say, hold on, okay, this still sticks with the Stick of Truth? Yes, it does. She was definitely a girl the whole time? No, yeah, of course, I get it. Sure, right. So that's how they're fixing the scenario, that they're saying you're transgender if you want to play as a girl character for the superhero version of this game. Another brilliant way to spin something that, I mean, they probably didn't even think twice about there being any sort of issues or people even wanting to play as a girl in the Stick of Truth. They're just like, yeah, whatever, it's a bunch of kids playing, let's just, we'll make the character, name him douchebag, here we go. And they're like, you know what, now people like to pick how they look, what they want to associate with this character. Let them be a girl, of course. Why would we tell you have to? And it's, oh, wait, crap. This is a continuation. How do we fix this? And this is genius. It's just, another creative way to come up with a solution to something that you, in theory, put yourself in a corner to do. So fantastic. I kudos to you guys.
Yeah, no, it's amazing that, like you mentioned, they get Matt and Trey are obviously brilliant satirists, and they're doing this social commentary like you mentioned before. And it's so funny because they're doing things that other developers would never touch, wouldn't dare get even close to it. So I'm very, very much looking forward to South Park, and I'm excited for it. I think it'll be really good.
Well, here's the real question, though: is it still coming out this year?
They say next month.
That's what I hear.
Less than a month. So.
Are we still feeling it? I haven't seen a marketing push.
It's a bit too late to push it back. I think we'll see it. I think we will.
Yeah, I'm sure we will. Piece of news here on Minecraft. This was courtesy of Skeptical Mario. Actually posted this in our Discord chat, and I hadn't known about this, but according to the Minecraft beta, as of build 9, this is via Reddit. If you use coordinates, that's considered cheating, and so that'll activate, quote unquote, a cheat, and that means that there's no achievements anymore. So the commenter here, Helen Angel, said that this is because Mojang can't find a better alternative without breaking the game. So they just said, no, if you type in where you want to go, or find travel to this location via coordinates, that's a cheat. Yep. Yeah, we're going to discontinue achievements and all that stuff, so you have to walk there the long way or whatever. Seems really strange because you still have a map with coordinates. Like, so if you found it and somebody told you, you could just take the long way and get there, right? Like, that's what I don't understand. So you lose the ability to essentially fast
taking
travel.
Away fast travel. I mean, you have to deal with the dangers in the world, I guess.
Maybe.
I mean, fast travel how? I don't know how you would fast travel in Minecraft.
Well, presumably you can just type in the coordinates where you want to go.
Yeah, but not on the 360 version or the 1 version.
No.
Oh, so are they saying just like coordinates showing up on the map?
Yeah, that's the only place they do show up. That's it. I mean,
yeah. Well, I'm thinking it's like a PC like the Fallout menu thing.
That may be the case. Yeah.
Well, but if that's the case, then that's not what they're talking about, because they're talking about Xbox and achievements. So
that's what I was confused about.
This is the Android and Windows 10 version.
Well, I mean, but that is the same version that is now on Xbox One too. It's the same version that's on every mobile platform.
Right.
It's the same game now, but I mean, I assume if that's the case, then they're talking about the coordinates that show up on the map. So you're just going to have to look at the map and figure out where you are without any.
Which is what most people
you.
did anyways. If you have the map and like somebody's like, come to me, you would just look at the map for their arrow and head in that direction. I've never used the coordinates as a place or as a method to get to a place. I don't know. To me, it seems almost pointless or inconsequential that this is going away because, and again, I'm not the world's, I haven't played the most Minecraft, but even what I've played, I've never ever used it in any way that would help me to get achievements or anything like that, even really in just to play the game. It was just a feature that was there. And if it wasn't on the bottom of the map, I would be fine, and it wouldn't affect my playing Minecraft at all.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, I'm just going to find somebody's achievement world anyway.
Yeah.
So that should fix that. Anyway, so just so you're aware that that's coming down the pipe. Again, not that it should dramatically affect your playstyle or whatever, but there you go, heads up. One other piece of news, I actually got two pieces of news. One real quick, I found this fascinating. PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds has now eclipsed the 1 million concurrent players mark today. So as of, on your birthday, Crandy, happy birthday. I believe this is of September 8th, but it might be September 7th. Anyway, peak number 1,018,540. Holy crap. That's ridiculous. The highest, second highest, is Dota 2 at 750,000. So
wow.
They've got
so it's more than anything.
More than anything, yeah. I mean, if you take, like, I'm actually looking, like, so Dota 2 is 750,000, Counter-Strike Go, 566,000. So 500,000, 750,000, and PlayerUnknown is over 1 million. And then I guess, what is this current player? So I wonder if this is like of a certain period. Like, I don't know if this has max or not today, but I know no other game has eclipsed the 1 million current player mark. So PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds has done it. That game is just rising meteorically with how popular it is. It is amazing, and I am excited for when it finally comes out on the Xbox and lets some of the console players play. Hopefully it maintains that traction, but that's a big get.
That
if
being
it
exclusive to Xbox is going to be a big deal.
Yeah.
Well, timed exclusive.
I was going to say, what does the exclusive mean? Did we have any clarity on what the time frame is? I think they mentioned it, but I forgot.
I thought it was a year.
Was it a year? Okay, I thought it was short.
I don't know. I could be totally wrong, but
suffice it to say that
in my head, I want to say it's a year. Yeah,
that's awesome. Brilliant. Okay, so my next piece of news, and this ties into listener feedback, is so I'll mention the comment here by Facial LaFleur. He asks that. Well, I'll start with the second part of his comment. Leapfrog the remaining competitors and your predictions. So I mentioned this on the contest roundup for part of the show. So as of recording, right, there are 17 individuals still in Leapfrog, and right now they need 6 achievements for with a minimum ratio of 8.4. 10 of them have already qualified, including Facial LaFleur himself. And actually, when I do the roundups, I forgot to mention Redemption Denied is part of that. He's got 2 so far, so he's got. Ooh, is he bowing out today? So he's got a few hours left to maintain this daily streak here. But goodness gracious, guys, 6 over 8, nearly 8.5.
Yeah, that's insane.
That is ridiculous.
I would not have anticipated that it would get to this point.
Agreed.
That's crazy. Like, even on the games where those achievements are easy, there are only so many 8+ ratio achievements that you can that are just gimmies.
Right.
You know, even with Rare Replay, even with Halo Master Chief, even with Killer Instinct, like, there's only so many freebies before they actually start being kind of justified in their ratio. So
Right.
I can't imagine this going for more than another week.
I tend to agree. I mean, I
But
don't
who
get
knows?
it.
Yeah.
Who knows?
If there are 2 or 3 of them that really stick it out.
Facials, all of facials came from Killer Instinct today. I see plenty of... It looks like Killer Instinct has been his go-to as of recent. There was a Minecraft 360 version that he got some action in. And I'm thinking some Cool Nation effects in there, but I'd have to go back further to see. But he's been playing that as well. Insanity. So let's go with the predictions part of it. Where do we think this thing's going to end up? How high? When did the 17 go down?
I mean, I'm going to stick with a week. By next recording, I think it'll be over.
I think
that's going to bring it up. What, they're going to have to get one more achievement that's like 1.5 ratio higher a day. At that point, yeah, I don't think that's going to, like, what would that be? 7 achievements at 10 plus?
No, well, in 1 week, yes.
Yeah,
well, it goes up by 2, right?
A week from today.
Point 2, yep.
Yeah,
2.
so
that would be around 10.
I don't know. That's going to be tough.
7 achievements over 10 a day. I don't think.
I will say it won't be over by next recording, but very shortly afterwards.
Oh, I was going to say on Tuesday, when it bumps up to 7 achievements for a 9.2 ratio, I think that's where we get our winner.
Okay.
So Tuesday, I think by next show, we will announce the winner of the UHH.
Okay. Well, yeah, I'm with you on that.
And Randy, you've got third.
I think by the time we record the next show, we will know that somebody has won.
And Proulx going beyond. Hey, and it's entirely possible. These people amaze me, because the other comment that Facial has is in regards to the newly announced UHH 3, the Ultimate Head-to-Head Challenge on TrueAchievements.com. We finally brought it back. I should have actually probably had this as my win of the week, is finally getting this thing back on track. We've been working on this since like February, March. We've been talking about kind of ways to improve it, rule changes, things. How can we make this more robust and better, and just really, some changes were really crazy we wanted to do. Some were real slight, and, ultimately we're going to keep having to modify this contest as it grows, because there's so many ways to exploit it. And so one of the biggest, one of the things that we've implemented in this version of it is the kind of the just for fun pool. So after the first 4 rounds, where you are trying to vie for wins and points and achievements, if you do not make the top, 256? If you don't make the top 256, you can move into a just for fun pool, where it's, you'll still get mashed up with people and stuff. You won't be in there for prizes, but you can still get the feel of the head-to-head competition and get lists throughout the contest, but, not necessarily I got to wake up on Monday morning so I can unlock everything within 4 hours, because otherwise I won't win type thing. So a casual pool, which has been so far positively received. We'll see what happens when it comes down to implementation, or how many people follow through, but I'm excited about that. The one thing that's not getting as much love is the 10% game removal from your games collection. And so the reason we try to do that is that, so if you owned a bunch of games and you had them started or whatever, and you purposely, like you do on the random to-do list, curate your list to make sure that you have a smaller pool of titles to pick from, that ensures that you know what's coming up. And if you happen to be an individual who preloads, then you can effectively tailor your entire list to games that will take you minutes to complete the entire list. which is what we're trying to avoid. And so the idea was, well, let's have it so that number is visible, and it has to be over a certain percentage, and we chose 10% of what you can pull off your list. And so, like, for instance, mine, because I've curated my list so heavily, it's they're like, yeah, oh, you got 100 and some games here, so that qualifies. I needed to actually add 300 achievements worth of titles so I can get over the 2,500. But they said, oh, and by the way, you don't qualify for knockout stage because you have 80% of your games collection switched to no longer owned or unable to play or whatever. So, because there's a lot of games on there I don't want to play right this minute. Like, I have tiers of which games I want to play. And so, anyway, that's the reason for it. Well, turns out the delightful individuals over at TrueAchievements.com have already figured out a way to break that system. And hopefully, I won't mention on the show or how to do it, but it is in the forums how you can manipulate the system and break it. I think Rich might have to make some adjustments so that this doesn't happen. But it only took, since posting 10, let's see, this was posted, it only took them about 10 hours to figure out how to ruin this contest. So, good on you. But we're still moving ahead with it. Have you guys joined up with the UHH? Is this something you're interested in there? Proulx a maybe, Randy's a no, I bet. But let's hear it.
My completion percentage is too high now. I would have to potentially add 1,000 achievements to my tag to qualify, so I don't think I'm going to do that. Plus, I'd have to play around with my game collection because before I set everything to no longer have, and then I'd have to actually remove it. And then I'd have to go and clean it up later if I wanted to put everything back in, and it's just...
No thanks.
Yeah, it's... My completion percentage... Really, my completion percentage has just gotten too high. But kind of before, when I was in the 70s, I was kind of, at the point where it would only take 2 or 3 games to kind of put me over the mark, where now it's taken, 20, 30, 40 games... Yeah, and I don't really want to. And what happened last time is because those games are unstarted, the odds of pulling an achievement from those games is significantly higher. So I end up getting lists that are just full of games I haven't started. Right. I don't really want to start them. So, plus I don't know. I don't have the time to really dedicate to it properly. So I'll probably just stick with the random to-do list that keeps me busy. It kind of does the same thing and is a little more casual and you get the whole month to do it, which I like. Yeah, you get the whole month, and it's kind of more welcoming to kind of where I am completion percentage wise, because the minimum pool isn't quite as big because you're not matching against anyone. You're just kind of matching against yourself. Yep. So yeah, it's a no for me. I mean, I thought about doing just for fun, but what it comes down to is I might get maybe 1 or 2 achievements around, and at that point I don't really see the point in even participating, because it's not going to be a good matchup for the person I match with, and I've already got a random list from random to-do list that I kind of care about more anyway. So sure, that's it for me. Do you remember when we were going to call this the Graw on the first time? Was it the Great Random Achievement War or something? Sure. I was going to call it the Fat Challenge, Freemhole's Achievement Tournament. So, yeah, I was going to call it. I think that was before. I think that was before I heard about it. The Big Fat Challenge. Yep. I like that. But I gave up naming rights to it, so. Yeah. No Gra, no fat. Yep. What about you, Proulx? Are you interested? I think I saw you sign up.
Oh, I'm in it to win it. As someone,
competitive.
Well, we'll see. I say that, but then I'm going to get a list that I don't like, and I'm going to be like, whatever. I don't moderate my list at all, so whatever I've got an achievement in is fair game for me. I don't do it for random to-do list. I'm certainly not going to do it here, and I have a zillion trillion achievements that I have not unlocked. So I qualify, and I am ready to play, and I'm excited because I really liked the UHH, the first and the second one. I really enjoy kind of the random element of these people you don't know, just like, oh, like, is this person going to be serious? Like, am I going to beat them with 2 or 3 achievements, or are they going to push me to the end of the week and I'm like sweating bullets, and am I going to be able to get it? So I'm really excited about it. The changes, I'm not like, I know there's been a lot of talk today about the 10% stuff. Again, that literally went over my head. I read people complaining about it. Doesn't matter to me because I don't curate anything. Everything's out there. So I'm excited for it, and I will try to stay in it as long as possible because I had to bow out of Leapfrog early. So I'm hoping that I don't think I'm going to make top 10 or top 50 or anything like that, but I'd like to be competitive for at least for a little while.
Sure. So a couple things on this. One is if you want to be tracked by me on the show so that I can add you to our contest roundup at the end of the show and we can talk about, once we get to knockout round, who we got, send me a friend request on trueachievements.com so that because there's a link on there that says friends in the competition. And that's how I would use it to check and see, so who's where and when they, are they still in the knockout stage or who they are matching up against, stuff like that. So if you want me to follow you and you're in, send me a friend request. I accept all friend requests. I'm not sure if I'm at a limit or not, but anyway, should be plenty of space for everybody. So that's step number 1. Step number 2 is just a suggestion that, because we talk so fondly about the UHH and the great random to-do list that we run here, there is a lot of opportunity for crossover here. And just saying, because I think it would be inappropriate if I personally, as a member of the True Achievements community event staff, solicited people to join the Z2Z random to-do list, but having conversations with people in the forums about perhaps another location that has a similar contest. If that tickles your fancy, you get more blood into these events. Again, not that it impacts you, like Randy said, you're vying your own list against yourself. It's a personal challenge thing, but just throwing that out there. We actually had a question regarding this as well in terms of where is it? I think it was. I wish I was more prepared. Oh man, where did it go?
I'm not a member of the TA staff, so I can suggest to people who are signing up for UHH and haven't signed up for Random To-Do List to go ahead and do that, because that's amazing, and they are similar competitions, and everybody should do it.
And they're both fun.
And they're both super fun, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it was from Cowboy Killer. He had one of his questions was he asks, why doesn't the RTDL, the Random To-Do List, pull from owned DLC or title updates? He asks, is it just a pain to code in? Well, Tarragon actually shared with me his kind of like bug log and his request things. Right now, the reason that's not in there is because that feature doesn't exist on TA right now. We can't delineate from owned DLC, and so his scanner, Tarragon's scanner, can't find it and pull it for you. So he is putting in a request at some point to Rich to say, hey, here's some things that would be really great to help out just this whole contest in general. And one of those being, like, we would love to be able to do owned DLC. Now, the one thing with title updates, and I'm not sure how we would handle this, is that title updates tend to have an unusually high ratio. And because this contest relies on ratio to get your score there, that tends to inflate those numbers. And so we still want to kind of handle those a little separately. And so I'm not sure how we would treat those long term if they do indeed are indeed allowed in the competition. But we're working on it. It's coming along, but not anytime in the near future. And I know there's some other things on that list that we would love to be able to implement. So work in progress. But I mean, as it stands now, I feel like it's a pretty darn good contest and robust enough for it to make a trip over to True Achievements. Then we, let Rich get a nice fancy front-facing UI and just steal Tarragon's code and merge it into something everyone can use. I don't know. We'll see if I'm leaving that up to Tarragon because it's his code, and if he wants to make a push for it to be somewhere else, or if he wants to keep it on Z to Z, regardless, we've got it, and it is by far my favorite contest that we have. It is awesome. Yeah. So a couple other. Let's just take Cowboy Killer's other comment. Hey, what's everyone's favorite Fallout game? Quick hitter here. Do you got one?
Fallout 3.
None of them. I haven't played any.
Fallout 3.
I was a big fan of Fallout 2, which is the one of those turn-based. Actually, well, between Fallout 1 and 2, I played those so much. And if you're interested in playing a game like that, Wasteland 2 is very much in the same vein of the turn-based action with action points and whatnot. Love that.
I will say though, despite not having played any of them, Fallout 1 and 2 did look more interesting to me than 3.
Yeah.
They
look New Vegas,
like,
they're great, but
they just look like games of that era that had so much detail in them that they're just, it's almost incredible how they managed to pack that much detail and that much depth into the limited power and storage that was there at the time.
Yeah, I totally agree. It is pretty remarkable how big those games were, and they were so much fun to play, but they, part of it is just your generic first-person action-adventure game or shooter or whatever you want to call it. I was still a fan of turn-based combat during my formative gaming years, and so that holds a special place in my heart. T-Virus Tyrant, hey, do you guys know that LA Noire is coming out with a remaster? Yeah. Unbelievable, right?
What game is that?
Didn't know.
He said, with the latest news that Rockstar's LA Noire is getting the remaster treatment, which in my opinion was underrated, any other games that you would like to see get a remaster? I mean, we are so that's the end of his question. We are well into this console cycle, and I would have said, come on, the remaster train is done. We've pretty much done everything. How much can you pull from this well? But here we go. Here's another one. You
gotta go back further.
I think so. I think you gotta go real far back.
I don't remember who it was that I was talking to about this the other day, but I was just remembering how much fun, I think it was Damien, how much fun The Simpsons Hit and Run was. That game should have a remaster because that was a fantastic game, and you could make it all new and pretty. Great game. It was just, I don't know, it was awesome. It was so much fun because it was like GTA. I mean, obviously not quite as explicit as GTA, but just in the Simpsons universe where everything is there. There's tons of references to the show. There's tons of places to explore. The gameplay was fun. It's just a great game. I played that game for so many hours on my GameCube.
Right.
I would love to see that get remastered and come to modern consoles.
I'm down for that.
Also Night Trap. I mean, that is getting remastered, and it should be coming out on Xbox soon, I think.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
I own it on
released.
I own it on PS4 already. I don't have a PS4, but I have Night Trap for PS4.
Yeah.
Well, and Dead Rising, right?
Oh, yes. Yes, I do. I have 3 copies of Dead Rising 2, actually.
It depends.
I also have Oddworld for PS4 on disc too.
For me, it depends on how far back we're going. I assumed this was just last generation, so my mind went to Mass Effect immediately. Please please give us a Mass Effect trilogy remaster on the modern consoles. I would love to play through those games again. If we were going further back, and in the very same vein, I would definitely pick Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. So,
yeah, and my remaster is being done. I just want it to be good and fun and awesome, and it's Toe Jam and Earl.
Oh yeah, mm-hmm.
I'm super pumped for that, although I'm super nervous about the alpha footage I saw that looks like garbage.
Oh man, yeah. Yes,
so
the graphics are ugly. I don't like them. But we'll see. We'll see.
Cross my fingers.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there we go. All right, Lord Chibello has a set of kind of, maybe not rapid fire, but he's got a series of questions. Real life gaming stats. How much time do you guys spend gaming per day? Proulx?
Per day? 3 hours?
Average.
Maybe?
3 hours.
Yeah.
Randy?
It's kind of been really inconsistent lately. But, I mean, now probably, like 3-ish hours, maybe. I mean, it's less during the week. Like, Monday and Tuesday, I generally play 0 hours. And then, like, throughout the week, then I'll play, like, 2 or 3 hours a night. And then on the weekends, I'll play more. So, yeah, probably 3 hours a day.
Sure.
Average.
I'm 2. I play from 10 p.m. till midnight. Although that gets earlier at times, like on Mondays when Bachelor in Paradise is on and my wife goes to bed early. I can get on earlier on, say, nights that I play Destiny and I do make terrible life decisions. Sometimes that goes to 1 a.m. So I get, anywhere between 2 to 3 hours of gaming. But you can almost bank me every night, 10 p.m. to midnight. That almost happens. How about what are your average hours of sleep per day? Where do you fall?
8.
8 hours, Randy.
6.
Holy crap,
I
man.
have to. I can't.
Rip Van Winkle over there.
Yeah, I have to. Well, like lately, I've been like I get ready for bed at 10. I'm usually in bed before 11, and then I get up at 7 for work. And if I just cannot function. And even with 8 hours, I'm not a morning person.
Sure.
And I have a hard time getting going in the morning, even with 8 hours. Weekends are more. I'll sleep more on the weekends.
Oh yeah, for sure. 6 on the weekdays and probably 9-ish on the weekends.
So if I go to bed at midnight and I wake up at 5 a.m., that's 5 hours of sleep. Although, like I mentioned, this entire week has been between 4 and 5 hours, closer to 4, which is not good. And on the weekends, so we typically finish recording sometime, I'll go to bed at 1 a.m. and wake up at 8 a.m., so 7 hours, and that is, holy crap, that's really sleeping in. But typically I don't
8 a.m.
do that.
sleeping in.
Yeah,
Sleeping
right.
in. I got 2 young kids. I got to hit the gym. I mean, gym for me is at 9:15, so I got to be up at 8 so I can have a little bit of breakfast and get ready. So there we have it. So yeah, not much sleep. Not much sleep. What about significant others? I know I'm married. Randy's married, and Proulx has someone living with him. A Proulx-mate and a Proulx-mate.
That's true. two now. Yep. Mm-hmm. That's very nice. Yeah.
Kids and ages. Well, I got a young son and daughter. And so my son is in like 3rd grade. I think he just started. Yeah, man, that's old. And daughter's in 1st. So they're getting there. No kids for you guys, right?
Proulx-mate
that you know of
just turned 27, I think. So that's where he's at. And
I got a dog too. A dog who's like 11.
Oh yeah, I inherited 2 cats, so that's a new thing.
Yeah, they're awful.
No, they're very nice kitties.
They're sweethearts.
Then Randy has. Do you have any animals?
Yeah, I've got a blobby.
Oh yeah, Blobby.
Yeah.
Bobby's all up there in age, though, isn't he?
No, he's like 1.5.
What?
Yeah, he's not old.
Oh, I thought he was an older dog.
No.
He's got a little pup, huh?
Yeah, I think we got him when he was like 6 months or something.
Gotcha.
6 or 7 months. See, well, I guess he's probably like 2. He's getting...
Here comes the nitty gritty now. Average gamer score per month.
Very inconsistent.
What have you been averaging? I'm getting
since the beginning of time, or since. Like,
can we officially find this out?
Go to your TA stats.
Yep, I'm looking at my period summaries, and I'm going to take all of 2016, and I'm going to divide what my gamer score earned in 2016 was by 12, and come up with 2,700 gamer score in a freaking month. Oh man, that's terrible.
Mine looks like for 2017, I'd say I'd average 3,500 a month. Now, if I switch that to TA score, it's closer to 8,000 or 9,000 a month.
Wow, so my 2016 output, right? The entire year of 2016, which I admit was a bit of a down year, 32,700 gamer score. 2017, I'm at 34,000 already through 8 months, which puts my average to about 4,300 a month. So that's not so bad. I'm okay with that.
There's got to be some sort of miscalculation for me. Oh, that's true achievement points. That's why. Okay, that makes much more sense. I was like, I did not earn almost 10,000 gamer score a month.
See, now I'm looking at 2016, where the majority of my unemployment was.
That was probably
and it is much, much higher. Well, not super more, like, because I mean, I still did a lot of stuff during the day. I mean, it wasn't like a full work day worth of stuff generally, but it was enough to keep me busy for a lot of the day. But I mean, I got like June, August, September, October, December were all over 8,000.
Wow.
December was 14,000 when I did my binge.
Yeah, looks like I'm about 7,000 from 2016 stats.
I mean, I could say like mine's probably 4,000. Like if you really average like over a couple of years, it's probably 4,000 a month. Because I don't really go for gamer score in particular though.
Right. I mean, mine's usually a representation of just how I play, right? Because I typically go for completions and stuff. And so, like, I'm kind of going back through the last 4 years, and I averaged around just over 1,000 achievements, and I'm looking at my, like, already in 2017, I'm over 1,000 achievements for the year, 1,001 to be exact. That's kind of fun. And I'm behind on my games completions. I usually complete between 20 and 25 games per year, and I'm at 16. So I've got a little bit to go, although Walking Dead's going to make that tick up a little bit. But I have already, like, for 2016 and 2015, I have already matched those numbers in 2017 through August. So, man, that's awesome. I still got 4 months to just pad the stats. So that's fun. He asks also, years in your Gamerscore hobby. When do you guys start?
Whenever the achievements came out. 2005, right?
6?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, 5.
I didn't get my Xbox until 2006.
Yeah, I got it at launch.
I started paying attention to achievements probably like early 2007. I wouldn't have considered it like a serious part of my hobby until about 2012, though. That 2012 is when I really got into achievements and like really paid attention to them and tracked them and wanted to complete every game on my tag.
Yeah.
But I mean, I would typically go for Gamerscore in my general playing pretty much since I kind of really knew what they were and understood what they were. I think Halo No, Saints Row was probably the game that really got me into it. Because I really wanted that completion in Saints Row. And then that was kind of the beginning of...
The end.
Of what happens now. Yeah.
So, I have there's two quintessential, moments for me where, like, I would say this was kind of the point. And I wish the data would support this better, but I can't really tell. And that is the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion.
Yeah.
That was the first game where I was kind of like, hey, these achievements are like all of the quests in the game. So, like, if I focus on getting these achievements, then I do all the content. And so that was kind of my goal there. And so, that pushed me into earning achievements. But I'm looking at the date, and that was 2008 is when I kind of finished. That's when I finished the main game. There's a bunch of offlines in there that muck everything up. But so 2008, I was kind of into achievements, and then finally, when I seriously just gave up on other gaming and said I'm focusing on achievements, was in 2000. Was after Modern Warfare 2, and that was in 2009 it came out in November, and I played the bejesus out of that, and then and it was after that I was like, you know what, I'm spending all my time playing Call of Duty games, this isn't fun. And that's when I was like, I'm done with them. And I still played Black Ops. I still played Modern Warfare 3. After Modern Warfare 3, I was like, done. But Modern Warfare 2, once I couldn't get all the titles and stuff, I was like, yeah, this isn't for me. So I'm gonna say 2010 was my serious investment into moving my Gamerscore. The final piece of his question, how much do you spend on video games in a month? Money-wise? I just bought Destiny, so there's 60, but you spread that out over the course of a year. I probably buy 2 or 3 titles a year as far as retail titles, and maybe a dozen digital titles, at least now. I used to buy tons and tons of stuff, but between Tarragon's list and just the backlog that is paralyzing me in doing anything, I kind of stopped buying games.
Yeah, right now for me it's almost zero, because I have zero extra money to spend on anything.
Yeah,
and
games with gold and
I have this huge it's kind of like this combination is okay, I've got this huge backlog, I've got no money to spend, I have very little interest in almost any games coming out ever now, and so really I'm just catching up on all the old games that I have. I mean, there's a game here and there that comes out that I'm interested in, and I will buy it if it's a game I'm interested in, but those are, I'm sure, as the podcast knows, very few and far between on modern games. So I'll probably get Wolfenstein. I bought Night Trap last month. Sonic Mania. Last month was actually I spent $80 on games last month. That's a lot. I would like to have more money to spend on games just for collecting, because I like to get all the obscure indie releases that come out on disc on Xbox One and stuff like that, but that's kind of been put on hold for the time being. So I don't know.
Yeah,
if
you average the whole year, probably $30.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah,
I would say probably between 100 and 200, depending, a month.
See, that's what I would like to spend.
Yeah. That's what I used to spend.
I always try to have something on its way, something coming in. So, and occasionally, obviously, I'll buy like if it's a title that I really want, I'll get it. Or, maybe a new controller, or, well, in the case of November, obviously that will certainly shift the average much higher. But generally speaking, that doesn't happen. So, yeah, I'd probably put it between 100 and 200.
Gotcha. Reset42 asks, what's your percent playtime on the Xbox One versus Xbox 360? And maybe delineate between backwards compatible, because I
would count backwards compatible 360.
Oh, you would? Oh, because I was going to count it as the one.
Well, I mean, we can do both, I guess.
Because in terms of uptime, I'm always, the first thing I turn on is my one.
Yep.
I have some dailies to do, and then probably, well, definitely with Diablo, it's once per week, but maybe slip in one or two other nights. It turns out my random to-do list has a lot more 360 titles than I would anticipate.
Yes.
And so it's been coming on a lot more recently, but thanks to backwards compatible, it's actually not that terrible. Like, Tarragon typically owns the games I already have physical copies of on, as a digital copy, and so I don't have to get up to do anything. Like, I can just stay sitting and steal the game and go start playing it. So, if you want a hard percentage, though, it's probably 70-30. If you include backwards compatible titles on the one as a one game. Otherwise, if that doesn't, it's probably actually close to 50-50, to be honest. I tend to play old games, so not a lot of new stuff on there. What about you guys?
Yeah, I'm not dissimilar to you. If it was up to me, everything would be backwards compatible, and I would never turn on my 360 again. Obviously, that's not the case. So, if we're including backwards compatible games as one games, then I would say 80-20. And if we weren't, probably 60-40.
Yeah, I got you. What about you, Randy?
I'm probably 70-30, 70-360, 31. It really depends on what I'm working on, though, because lately, for the last month or so, I barely turned my 360 on because I've been working on Killer Instinct.
Oh, right.
But I mean, normally, most of the games I'm working on, and honestly, most of the games I'm actually interested in playing that I own are on the 360. So most of my playing is on the 360, and I typically, unless it's a game where I want a more precise D-pad, I'm generally going to play it on the 360 and not on the one.
Wow, really?
Yeah. Well, because the way I have my setup is it's the same amount of effort to turn on the 360 or the one. There's no difference. So
except the time investment.
And switching between games.
Well, I do that anyway. I mean, I have to put the disc in either console.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Physical media. What a schlub.
Now, if I own the game digitally and it's backwards compatible and it's not downloaded on my 360, I'm going to play it on my one. Just because the download time of the 360 is outrageous. And most of the games are IP locked anyway, so...
Yeah, not much you can do there.
Yeah, then I have to, tunnel a VPN through my computer, and it's messy. I'm trying to avoid it when possible.
I bet.
But I'll do it if I have to.
Nice.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, I like to play on my 360.
I don't mind it. It's fine, but...
It's just slow. It feels slow.
It's kind of like, I don't know. I feel like the experience on the 360 is more authentic.
I
can see that.
I don't know. I don't get that. I don't know
because
what that even means.
I like to play the games on the console that they were made to be played on. Now, backwards compatible, I'm not dumping on backwards compatibility because it's fantastic. And if you don't have a 360 anymore, your 360 dies or whatever, backwards compatible is awesome, and for multi-boxing and everything. But I generally like to play, like, if I'm going to put a disc in a console, I want to play it on the console that it was built for.
Yeah.
Whatever, and that's the same for cartridges or whatever. Like, I kind of the same thing. Like, if you don't have old consoles and you get like the Retron 5 or whatever to play all your cartridges, that's fine. But if you have it, if you've got the original, like, it was awesome. Last time I went back to Canada, I played Sonic CD on a Sega CD on a tube TV. It was awesome. And then I went back to playing it on the one, which of course is a much better experience, but it's not an authentic experience.
Right. No, I'm the same way. I'm the same way.
Like, I am not. It's so... What a weird thing for me. I don't understand that experience.
Like, there's a contingent of people who say that the Super Nintendo controller is like one of the best controllers ever made.
It's terrible.
And is, perfect. And it's like, I would feel weird playing Super Mario World on an Xbox controller. Like, it would feel weird to do that.
Yeah, I agree.
Maybe initially, but you would get used to it.
You would get used to it because it's such a better feel. And, I'd probably get that nostalgia factor and say, oh, yeah, this works really well. But, like,
because
inherently, the controller sucks.
The Super Nintendo controller was designed, I would assume, with a lot of 2D platformers in mind.
Oh, yeah.
Where the Xbox One controller is probably the most versatile controller ever. Like, it is like a perfect hybrid controller that is very good at doing everything, but it's not designed for one thing in mind. So with the Super Nintendo controller, you don't have joysticks getting in your way. You've got a big D-pad, and you've got a few buttons, and that's all you need. You don't need anything else.
I don't know.
So if you're playing a platformer like Super Mario World, that controller is tailored to platformers, so it's probably going to be a better experience. Now, of course, you can play it on the one controller. You're going to get used to it, and it's going to be just fine. But it's not going to be as good as playing it with that controller that was designed to do that.
I disagree. I think the ergonomics alone of the controller is going to make your Xbox One version. Well, depending. I don't know. I don't think that there is... I think if you blind tested people with similar or the same controllers, like, so say I put you in front of a console that's playing Super Mario World or Sonic 2 or whatever.
You have to, like, put your hands on the other side of a wall.
Yeah.
And you feel the controllers without knowing what they are.
No. Obviously, you'd have to use the same controllers, but...
no, that's what I mean. So you put a Super Nintendo controller, you put an Xbox One controller, but you have to, like, put your arms through a wall that you can't see to pick it up and use it. So you can't just be like, oh, I like the Super Nintendo controller.
Well, no, I mean, you're gonna know.
But you're gonna know.
You're gonna know which controller you have.
Yes.
What I'm saying is, if you could somehow emulate the controller experience on either end, and I don't think most people would be able to tell what they were playing on. I don't know. I don't know.
But that's inherent to a controller is the ergonomics.
Well, right.
I mean, there's a sensation for it, and I agree that after playing on the Xbox controller, any old game, let's say you PC emulated something, and it was like you mapped your buttons so it was similar to the button layout of the original designed controller. In this instance, it's Super Nintendo. You would pick up on it pretty quick and be like, yeah, this feels great. Sure, not a problem. But that initial feel would not be authentic. You'd be like, I remember playing this game, and it was definitely not with this controller.
I think the biggest difference, particularly like going that far back and forward, is the shift from a D-pad to a joystick, and how D-pads are basically secondary. Now, the one controllers are pretty good about it.
They're almost to just navigate menus, to be honest.
Oh, I use them. Any platformer, I'm using the D-pad all the time.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I do no stick in platformers ever. Which is really nice to actually have that option now, because on the 360 that was not an option because the D-pad was terrible. Even the revised D-pad was not good. I mean, it was passable.
It was mushy.
The first ones were just awful. And then the new ones, the one D-pads are so good. But I mean, I think the biggest difference is like you've got a stick in your way. Like when you're playing that game, you've got a joystick in your way, and you have to stretch further to reach that D-pad. Like it's not, the controller's not designed with the D-pad in mind like the Super Nintendo controller is. And for that reason alone, I think you're going to get a better experience out of that controller, even if the ergonomics aren't there. Like
yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Like if you try to hold a Super Nintendo controller for 10 minutes at this point in your life, your hand's gonna cramp up. It's gonna be. No, it's not that bad. I know it's not that bad. I'm exaggerating.
I just played through all of Sonic CD.
I'm exaggerating. I know.
Sega CD controller. It was
Still
just
though,
fine.
it's
not that
a lot
bad.
smaller for your hands. I mean, extended gaming sessions, you'd feel it. You'd have a bit of a claw going because it'd be so tiny in your hands.
Yeah. I don't know. The Sega controllers were a little nicer ergonomically than the Nintendo controllers.
Wait. Which Sega? Are you talking about this?
Genesis.
No, my God. They were so... Oh,
they look like batarangs.
The humps on the Sega Genesis controllers were so uncomfortable. It's insane.
I prefer them. I prefer the Genesis. I don't prefer the D-pad, but I prefer the controller in general.
Oh, man. To Super Nintendo, maybe you could get into that debate. I'm not going to try to. But if you're...
And this is, I guess I should clarify, this is the revised Genesis controller, the 6-button controller.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a very different... Okay, well, even then, it is much smaller, so it's slightly more comfortable, but I don't even know how we got into this discussion. But
well, we have another hardware question from Callsign Iceman. He said, hey, it's time for a new headset. Any suggestions? Yeah, Turtle Beach is coming out with 2 new models, the Stealth 600 and the Stealth 700. Any thoughts?
I do actually have a suggestion, and
I
just got a new headset, and I'm super happy with it. It is the Logitech Artemis Spectrum G933. It's wireless, and it supports multiple inputs at the same time.
Interesting.
So what
do you toggle it? How do you toggle it?
So it comes with a USB dongle that you can plug into a computer. And if it's a computer, it will transmit the audio. It'll receive the mic and transmit the audio through that dongle wirelessly. Holds a charge, charges 10 hours of use. It's really, really long. Wow. Charges really quick. And you can also charge it and use it at the same time. So if you run out of charge and you need to keep going, you can just plug it in and continue to use it, which is nice because I know not all headsets do that. And then on the dongle, there's a headphone jack that you can plug another audio source into. So what I do is I have it plugged in my computer so I can talk on Skype, and then I connect my monitor that has a line out on it into the dongle for my Xbox. So I have my computer audio and my Xbox audio both going into the headset at the same time. And you can plug a third line in. You have to wire that into the headset though. There's a jack on the headset that you can also connect to it comes with adapters for a 360 controller, cell phone.
You should make sure you find a link for this and post it in the show notes.
And it was so on the Logitech website it was $150, but then I got it at Best Buy. I think it was just over $100. And it's awesome. It comes with a 2-year warranty. I wasn't expecting it to be as good as it was, but I'm really loving it. It's awesome. The only con is it's humongous. My head, when I have the headphones on, my head is twice as wide as it normally is. And you can't hear anything. So that's a pro or a con for some people, depending. I don't like that. I like to be able to hear things around me a little bit when I have my headphones on. My headphones I'm wearing right now that I use to record are a Bose on-ear So they're not the ones that cover your ear, but they just sit on top of your ear, so you can still hear things around you and you don't yell. Because that's the thing that happens is if I have these headphones on and both of the earpieces are covering my ears, and I'm talking somewhere, my wife gets mad that she just comes out and says I'm yelling because I can't hear myself because the headphones make me deaf.
Yep.
And I just yell apparently, but I am completely unaware of the yelling. But yeah, if you're looking for a wireless headset, it's pretty awesome. I guess the only thing is there's no like direct. I mean, I don't know how the other headsets work because I've never really had them because I've always done the line out from a monitor.
Oh yeah.
But there's no like direct plug into a console. So like you can plug the dongle into a console, but you've got to have something that will take that audio and convert it to a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack to go into the dongle. But you can plug it into anything powered, and then it will transmit to the headset, whatever's in that plug.
Yeah.
So you can put whatever in there.
What about you, Proulx? You in the market for a headset? Do you even have a headset?
I don't. That I was going to say I'm actually kind of curious to hear what you guys have to say, because the only headsets I've ever bought are the cheap $20 Xbox headsets that sit over one ear.
Oh, those are terrible.
Oh no,
and they just break for no reason.
Yep, I buy them probably once every 3 months because they just break.
I remember that. Like when I used to play multiplayer games all the time, like seriously, like once a month, I'd be buying a new headset.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And
just because nothing even happens to them. Like it's just one day they just stop working for no reason.
And my issue is, you just mentioned it, Randy, but my issue is like, I don't want a super heavy headset that sits over both my ears that I can't hear anything, because a lot of times I have people to talk to, and I just want a simple chat headset. I don't even want the game audio to come to my ears. I can hear it just fine on my TV. Maybe there's a better option for that, but I don't know, and I haven't found one, so I just keep buying these stupid Xbox ones over and over again.
What I used to do that I quite liked, it's not an expensive headset. It's a SteelSeries Siberia, whatever like the lowest end model is now. They change the name all the time. I think they're like, I don't know. I think they're like less than $50 now. But it's like a basic. I mean, it is still a gaming headset, but it's like just like wired normal headset that you can plug in your controller. For on Xbox One, you just get the converter. You convert the two jacks to the one with the 3 rings on it, like a cell phone thing, whatever those are called. Nobody has a clue what I'm talking about, I'm sure.
No, I don't even.
It works. And what I used to do with those is, because it is like an over-ear headset still. I've never seen an on-ear headset, which would actually be quite a nice thing. I would just wear it so... I mean, that's the same way I wear this new headset, actually, is I move it so one ear is open, but it'll still sit on my head. And it sits pretty comfortably. It doesn't fall off. And that was the same for my old headset, too, the SteelSeries one. And then I could chat and have game audio in one ear if I wanted to. And still hear what was going on around me. And they're just pretty nice. Like, I mean, they're not super high end or super durable by any means, but they get the job done for not a crazy ton of money.
I have the semi-wireless X1s or X4s. Anyway, totally adequate, not terribly expensive, but good sound, mic monitoring. It's decent. They're fine. I tend to need a headset because my wife and kids are sleeping right above me in the upstairs bedrooms, so I typically try to keep it down as best I can, so I don't ever actually hear sound from the TV. It's got to be through a headset. So again, totally adequate. I don't need to really make a strong recommendation because they just work, and I probably have to replace them every year or two. So, final question that I want to touch on, and this makes me unhappy. This was brought to my attention by Azizi Urban Spaceman, but I've seen plenty of discussion on Twitter. NBA 2K, the Prelude, is out. And there's no achievements for it.
Boo!
And I said, oh, wait a minute. You know what, guys? It's just, it hasn't scanned yet. Just settle down. It'll come through eventually. Come to find out, PlayStation gets trophies. Xbox gets jack and crap. And what the hell?
Boo!
See, this is what happens when it releases on my birthday.
Boo!
It gets the unlock of the Raincloud.
This is unbelievable. Like what you already implemented the system on one hat. Like you've done the work.
I wonder if it was Microsoft saying they can't have it because it's not like a real game.
It's a 5-star top rated.
But look at the one last year where you could get locked out. Almost guaranteed you can get locked out of an achievement when you play because you only play it once. It's not like a real game. It's like a one-off thing that they only let you play once. I mean, somebody on TA found a workaround, thankfully, for the number of people that ended up getting locked out of things. But I could see Microsoft not certifying achievements
because they're broken.
They're
or something.
this isn't really. It just doesn't really fit the category of things that have achievements.
That would be an acceptable explanation, except I believe it was Xbox who tweeted out that the developer chose not to include the achievements. So,
well, then that theory's out the window.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe so many people complained last year that you could be forced to spend money or not get achievements that they just said, we're not going to deal with it. Who cares?
This is so upsetting because I was really hoping for a yearly tradition of a super easy demo.
You were irrationally excited about the Prelude
I was
2K.
too.
So excited.
I was looking forward to the
I was
1K.
so excited.
No, because when I was at your house, you were way too excited about this game.
I enjoyed playing the Prelude last year. It was not. It was a positive experience. It was fun. I had a good time. The 4 or 5 or 6, I can't remember how many games you had to play. And you get 1,000 easy Gamerscore, and I'm like, man, if this happens every year, this is going to be amazing. And then of course this happens, and
yeah,
it's silly.
I did actually enjoy it too. I mean, it was decent for what it was. And it was kind of a cool thing, I think it was much better than a demo. Because it wasn't really a demo. It was kind of an intro.
It was like a trial.
I mean, I wouldn't call it a trial, though, because it's not like the main game. I mean, it is kind of. It has some gameplay in it. But it was just kind of like it was kind of reminded me of Dead Rising Case Zero.
Sure.
It was just kind of it came out a week or two before the game. Your progress kind of carried over, and it just gave you a little taste of what it was going to be without, and it kind of added to it. It was just like a little kind of intro that added on the main game,
right,
for free. And it promoted it in a way that wasn't obnoxious, except for the real money part.
Oh yeah, that was
ridiculous.
Yeah,
but. Yeah, here's a $200 add-on pack for a game you can only play through once. That I also didn't like. I don't know why they did that, but
yeah, I'm not happy about it. Really not. Total travesty.
I'm with you.
So, Twitter campaign. Send messages to the developer. Say, not cool, man. Not cool. I got my piece in. So, spread the word. We need to fix that. So that we actually get achievements. That's it, guys. That's it for that part of the show. Let's move into closing this thing out. Randy, you've already told me there are so many knobs and discos.
Tons.
What happened?
I don't know what happened, but
birthday breakage.
It's the unlock of the Raincloud. Must be. So we have. Well, okay. There's a couple of good news, mostly bad news. Little tiny ray of sunshine. So the Minecraft Pocket Edition on iOS, the So I Got That Going For Me achievement is fixed, no longer unobtainable. I'm not sure if that makes the game completable or not, but you might want to check into that. Minecraft on Xbox One. So I got that going for me, was fixed. I think there's still a couple unobtainables on that. A little bit of a mess right now. Burnout Crash. 2 discontinued achievements, Hat Trick and Fighting Back. Turtle's Quest, which looks like a fantastically terrible game on Windows 10. The description is amazing. I'll see if I can dig that up after this. But the Ahoy achievement is unobtainable. And I was going to say and maybe more, but I'm not going to say that because I actually have no idea. Dead Alliance has 4 unobtainable achievements: Crossbow Slayer, Crossbow Massacre, Drakon 1 Slayer, and Drakon 1 Massacre. All unobtainable. World of Tanks Xbox One, Story Master is unobtainable. Path of Exile, Locomancer, Augmentation, and Deadly Sins are all unobtainable.
Man, this is a lot of stuff.
Overwatch has 3 discontinued achievements. These ones they look like they're tied to an event that ended.
Yeah.
The Safe Hands, Volley, and Lucio Hat Trick.
That being said, though, this is the second time they've run this Olympic event. They ran it last year as well. So, yes, you cannot get them right now, but there is a chance, again, that it comes out every year around this time.
I don't like that they do this.
No.
And it sets a bad precedent because I don't want more games to do that. But anyway, that's it. Lots and lots of unobtainables.
That is a lot of unobtainables. Gross. Not a fan.
No, me neither.
Well,
and the description for Turtle's Quest is a tale of a kid who's looking for a treasure by look for a turtle that he will have to save, but first he must find.
That's
so
brilliant.
That's awesome.
Barely a sentence.
It's from an Italian developer, but
Still,
it's a good one. Yeah,
get the localization team on that one.
I mean, I think it's like one guy, but still, that gave me a good laugh.
Gotcha. What are you guys up to for the week? You guys got plans? We'll kick it over to Review Zed here in a second, but I just want to see, what's on the game plan.
Well, I pretty much kind of went over it. I'm gonna start The Darkness this weekend, I think. I've got some loose plans to play more Battlefields and possibly Red Dead if we can get the crew together. And maybe start LA Noire or Sonic 06.
I heard there is a new LA Noire coming out.
Oh,
pretty
really?
soon. I don't know where I heard that, but I could be wrong. So
Get all warmed up for the re-release.
Whoa.
Now you're talking. Proulx, what about you? What do you got?
Yeah, nothing super special. I'll keep going with my Telltale plunge. I hope to get all of those stacks done. I'll also be working on Halo. Hopefully we can get some progress in Left 4 Dead, and just some other miscellaneous stuff. Nothing crazy this week.
Sure. My plan is alphabet stuff. I'm going to finish Eventide, Slavic Fable, the first one. I missed a stupid card, so I have to go through the entire game to go get it, which sucks. But I plan on doing that. Also going to do Enigmatics 2 and Enslaved Odyssey of the West to get my E's out of the way. And I want to play... I bought the DLC. I finished the game when it first came out. Omerta, the Japanese incentive DLC. I want to play that this week. And then just keep chipping away on some random to-do list stuff. I'll finish Walking Dead, of course. And then I'm pretty sure... Now, this might change, but Plants vs. Zombies starting up on Thursday. I may have to push it out one more week. We'll see. But... otherwise, that's getting going. Now that Titanfall's done, so there we have it. And with that, I think we should go and listen to what Damien and Planting have been up to with a little Review Zed action.
Z to Z Podcast presents Review Zed.
All right, thanks for that great introduction. Actually, that's assuming that you introduced us this week. I think you did. You remember we're here, right? So, I'm here with Warren for another week of Review Zed. Warren?
Had it.
Yeah. So, doing another one of your favorite genres, platforms again. Woohoo! So
something tells me you just like to torture me with these. I don't know why. I'm just gonna throw that out there.
Yeah, I will say on the Twitter feed, I think the one that was currently going on, I mentioned in the Discord chat, I don't think we're going to get to review it because I think you're sick and tired of doing platformers. But I digress. So this week we have The Way, which was published by Code Horizon and developed by Puzzling Dream. This was actually released back on August 4th of this year and has an Xbox Live store price of $9.99, which is cheaper than the Steam price, which I think the Steam price is normally $15. So
now, for a game that came out on our birthday, you would assume this would be like a present. Unfortunately, it doesn't feel like one.
Well, so this is I guess I will agree with the multi-genre vote. It is a puzzle/platform game. I'm not sure if it does the puzzle part okay. Platforming, we'll get into that. But I think for a little background, so it is yet another in that 8-bit genre, or is that 16-bit? It looks, I guess it's 16.
I would call it 16. It's pixelated, however you want to call it.
Yes, it is. It is very much, and actually, my first impressions, I think I even said to you, I was like, doesn't this remind you of Another World? And the other one that I was thinking about that I've heard a lot of people mention, Flashback. If you remember Flashback for the Genesis, not the reboot.
I was going to say Myst.
Myst?
Like old PC Myst.
I don't, because Myst, though, was
without
first
the story.
Person. This was a first person. This is a side-scroller platform.
Well,
but
yeah, but that level of graininess about.
Yeah, I mean, it is puzzle-based. So you basically are going through this story. No secret. So it starts off with you digging up the grave of your girlfriend, which for me, that is always a precursor to a great story right there. Because who doesn't like to start off a game with grave robbing?
Well,
come on. One of those things you got to do.
Would probably dig it.
Yeah, especially if there's a zombie involved. But no zombies that I can tell. But you are digging up just the dead. But you do want to make them a zombie. Or, well, I guess you want to break... Whatever, it's love. So this definitely takes place in the future. And you dig up the corpse of your girlfriend. Or why... I'm thinking it's your girlfriend. I don't know if you ever got married. And you start off with having to basically steal a spaceship. So, and I won't really dwell too much in this story, but it's based around you're going to a place where you had once explored to try to change the outcome of things, but without going in the past, changing the future, or something to that extent. So you must find your way. See what I did there?
Oh, clever pun.
I don't know. So, yeah, I think from a premise that's where you're going. But for me, the game was it was overly frustrating because of just awful controls. I don't know if people on Steam just found it was a lot better with PC keyboard mouse, but the controller, it just infuriated me. I'll let you vent for a minute.
I mean, it's not just the controller. It's actually how the controls themselves work. For instance, I kind of expect that if there's a ladder, you can jump on it and climb from where you land on it. Not in this game. You can slide down from where you want, but at least all the ladders I've found, I couldn't jump onto. I had to start from the bottom of the floor.
You can jump into the ladder. However, if you do not press up at the correct moment, you'll just miss. And that goes into the controls on this thing. It was beyond unforgiving. It would be just, you'd sit there and you'd be trying to press up on something, and if you weren't exactly on the ladder, it was no, there was no like give in the game. And on top of it, you die from, well, assume you're 5 feet tall or 6 feet tall. We'll say you're 6 feet tall. If you fall more than 2 body lengths, so a 15-foot drop will kill you, which is annoying when you're doing platforms.
I mean, the fact that it's platforming and they're making you try to solve these puzzles in a kind of, I don't know, thoughtful way, I would assume, is I don't know how you want to explain it. They have you basically blindly searching through the building to figure out the clues and figure out what you have to do. But the problem is, normally there'll be like on the pause screen or something, a little blurb of to what your current objective is. Unless you remember what you're doing, you're lost. You'll never figure it out until you wander back to, oh, I clicked this and now I have to do this. Okay. It's just, some games hold your hand. This one doesn't even try. I was immediately lost, as Spats can tell you, within the span of I don't know, probably 30 minutes in, 20 minutes in. I'm sitting going, what is going on? I can't walk through these lasers because I die. These robots keep seeing me. Obviously, I've done something wrong already. It's like, I don't know.
It was a lot of trial and error. Exactly. Because I think you're just talking about the beginning with going between the vents and then the generator doors. Yeah. And I mean, that first puzzle, I guess it's a setup. If you get past the first puzzle or two, if you can get through getting the spaceship without much difficulty, you're not going to have the most difficult time with the puzzle. You'll get the idea of like, okay, I think I know what to do. Okay. And when you get later powers, you'll get it. There's still challenging puzzles, but yes, there's no hand holding. There's no instructions of going, here's the puzzle. This is what you have to do. You just have to kind of look and go, I think in this instance, I want to do this and kind of go for it. I mean, the good news is there's guides out there if you really want one to walk you through it. However, if you do want something that mentally challenges you a little bit, again, this is where I'm finding the game where it is okay. Because the puzzles weren't overly challenging. There was a sense of accomplishment doing them. But then when you get into the whole platform aspect of this game, that's where it just kills me. Because you'll have to make these jumps and you can't jump up on or you have to jump to a ledge and then he has to climb up. And then you'll go, and the platforms are 3 body lengths, and your jumping is you jump 5, or you just jump straight up, or if you'll be going and then you'll go and press the jump button, but you just won't jump. Like, it's awful with the button control. Like, it's not responsive. It's very wonky, and then just the actual fluidity control of your character is just bad. So you find yourself constantly redoing the same ledges over and over again because it's just, oh, no, that time it didn't catch you jumping there. Oh, no, you jumped a little bit early because you're now second guessing everything you do. So, and then the checkpointing is frequent, but not frequent enough. So sometimes, like, I'm at a point where I literally have to go climb up 3 sets of ladders, jump over 4 things to get to these 2 bots that I have to kill. I can kill the first one, and then the second one I'm using my shield to go reflect the bullet, and if I miss the shield, oh, there you died. Go back to the bottom of that pit, climb up the ladder. So after like 3 times of doing it, you're just like, okay, I'm done.
Oh yeah, I can totally relate to your frustration. This is definitely one of those kind of games that I personally do not have the patience for. I like more of an adventure in my game than straight up trying to figure out my surroundings constantly. You're right in the sense of that the puzzle difficulty themselves really wasn't too overly hard, but you're dead on. Yeah, if you don't get that first puzzle, you're just going to be banging your head for the next couple hours while you try to get through the game. Let's put it this way. In roughly 4.5 hours of gameplay, I was able to solve the get your spaceship puzzle and land on another planet, spend maybe 20 minutes wandering around. It took me 4 hours to get that spaceship. So if you play this and you go, what the, wow, Planting, you suck at platformers. Yeah, you're right. However, if you're banging your head like me, then there's definitely something better to spend your time on.
Yeah, I mean, again, from a... Yeah, I'm so on the fence with this one because the puzzle aspect's fine if you like a puzzle game, but from a platform aspect, I'm just... Yeah, so much of it frustrates me at times. I look back to a game like Subject 13, which was actually from the creators of... Was it Subject 13? I think it was. It was from the guys that did Flashback originally. And that, you know, that for me was at least a more modernized, you know, take. Like, so it still had that same kind of puzzle elements, but it at least brought it up to a more modern game. Right? Just into this gen. And it was $7. So,
yeah, you can't knock.
Well,
the
no,
perks.
but that's my point, right? Like, so when you're sitting here for $9.99, again, there's parts of it that are fine, but other parts that I'm finding entirely frustrating. And from a platform, I'll probably still, you know, go through and finish it just because that's what I do. But they could have spent some more time on the controller layout for it, or just mapping, because it was you just can tell it was not designed initially with controllers in mind, and yeah, it shows. So
That's a shame with a lot of these Steam ports.
So, you know, that's where I leave it. I leave it kind of on that meh. You know, it has its pros, but it definitely has its cons. So it's very reluctant. You know, definitely double check it before you fully commit. If you're not going to enjoy it for the puzzles, if you hate puzzles, I don't think you're going to find much redeeming.
I would agree with that assessment. Personally, I would say leave this one behind. It's $10, and if you're just going to be banging your head, there's better way to spend $10.
All right. Cool. Well, until next week, thanks again, Warren, for joining me. And we'll
have a good
back
one.
to you, Freem.
Hey, thanks for the review, guys. Unfortunately, Freem couldn't make it back, so I guess I'm outroing the show this week. So I'd like to thank Brandon and Proulx for being on the show with me this week. Had a blast. We talked about some unlucky things, and so that's the end of the show. Of course, if you think we did a good job and you want to contribute financially, check out our Patreon. That'll be in the show notes. You know, and if you can't or don't want to or whatever, you know, maybe give us a review on iTunes. Send us a tweet on Twitter. Maybe just retweet an episode. Tell your friends. All that good stuff. If you want to support the show, if not, no big deal. You don't have to. We have some merch available, also in the show notes. If you want a Z2Z shirt or mug, those are both available. And then, of course, our Twitter is at Z2Z. That is ZEDTOZED, not the letters. And if you want to follow us on there. Damien does a giveaway every week. We actually had 2 this week, which is even better. If you want to win some free stuff, check us out on there. Want to get notified when the episodes go live, check us out on there. A reminder, on Friday, this coming Friday, we will be having another live show on Mixer. Check out that link in the description if you want to watch. And send us a question. You can email us, you can tweet us. Our email is contact@z2z.com. That again is ZEDTOZED.com. Send us an email. Tell us what you think of the show. Do you like it? Do you dislike it? Do you hate it? Do you love it? Shoot us an email. So with this very short and not normal outro, thank you to Brandon and Proulx, who joined me on the show this week. I am Randy, and thank you so much for listening.